close. I mean, again, drafts are important, but again, it does come down to gameplay as well.
Yes, that it does indeed. Can set yourselves up with a perfect draft, but you still need to execute. So we'll get ourselves pretty underway shortly here with the draft. In fact, look at that. We got it up on screen. So Nemiga, it's going to be the Storm Spirit along with the Bounty Hunter getting banned out in the first phase. Of course, a lot of respect for Kiyotaka and Amira as well. And then for Pandas, we got the Timber and the DOTA banned out.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, Kiyotaka was getting offers from everywhere to be able to go. He was potentially going to be in Samael's spot over in Asta. You know, that's how in demand this guy is. And any guy that names himself after an anime, I am all on board with that. So we'll see. We'll see if he's able to keep it up. Because, you know, there are some people that are one-hit wonders, flashes in the pan. But hopefully for Eastern Europe's sake, if it's not Spirit putting themselves up towards the top of tournaments, it's some of this new blood in the 9 Pandas roster.
And this is one of the few occasions, Danog, where the name change actually works. Because we've... us coming from Southeast Asia, there was a lot of name changes for a while that had no success at all. And it was kind of like, hang on now, you might need to go back to the old name because something's going on with the new name. But for Kiyotaka, I don't know, this man is built a new identity now for himself. So I very much enjoy... I didn't get to cast any of his games, unfortunately, in the group stages of the major, but I was got to see how he was able to perform. Yeah, oh, dude, I was a Tundra boy in that event, but we get the class. You got the Alchemist Flex, and of course you got the Antares techies.
It's a great hero. I mean, Antares... It used to be that, like, Eastern Europe had their specialty techies players, but now everyone's just picking it, just because of how incredibly solid it is, right? Burst damage, magic resistance reduction, like, it's just an incredibly solid hero, even for harassing in the lane, right? They buffed up his right-click damage over time, like small incremental changes, so that you can really feel the impact of going up against one of these heroes that has the longest attack range in the entire game.
Interesting. I thought Pango got nerfed a decent chunk in the...
It did.
I mean, or what was it? Just the level 1 damage was decreased by 4, which is pretty huge for that first wave, and then really the swashbuckle was the big one. Just the range being decreased. It's on a flat 850 now. It's 550 in increments of 100 each level, so...
When the patch was released, that wasn't actually implemented, though. It was still full range, so hopefully it's been hot-fixed, but... I mean... Pango's a universal hero, right? So not having the base damage level 1 kind of sucks, but again, think of the items that you build, like Diffusal Blade. It just gets a bunch of agility, a bunch of intelligence, right? That's going to go straight towards the now 0.7 damage per stat of whatever it is that you're looking to go into. So he just absolutely shreds people. You know, I've been playing against Pangos where a single swashbuckle takes me from literally full HP to like 30% when I'm playing a position 5. Once he's just Diffusal.
10 seconds.
I thought the changes as well to the hero at the initial, like 7.3 was 7.33, I should say, was pretty big. So the fact the hero is still getting picked, I didn't think we'd see it as much as what we are still currently seeing. But regardless, I think it's always at least a fun hero to watch. I think maybe to play against is a bit of a different thing, but at least to watch and to cast, it's again not like a Deucer or an Arc Warden, so I don't really mind about Pango being the meta.
Yeah, Arc Warden. It's not fun to play against a Pango as a support player, but at least there's some interaction there, you know? You can try and dodge the rolls. You could try and guess where he's got a swashbuckle at the end of his rolls. You can't stop an Arc Warden from just laying down 50 million spark rays and farming and, you know, ratting things out as a support player. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. I mean, as well, you've got this this Doom as well. I know it's something that now we're going to need to come to a consensus on the pronunciation here. Vazja. Alright, but Hellscript plays it as well, so again, kind of similar to what we had with Lil having the potential to play the Doom in that position 3 role, position 4 role, excuse me. Nemiga do it as well, so we'll see. And I know you were talking about Melreen as being a player that you really want to look out for. I'll give you a bit of a platform here. Tell me about Melreen. Talk him up a bit.
Talk him up? It's just Melreen. I think he's one of those position 2s that... You know, we've seen Kiyotaka kind of leap out of the woodworks, and I think Melreen is just looking for that time. I mean, a very, very high rank on the leaderboards over in over in Europe, and or someone that a lot of people are looking out for as well. So it's just, I think it's only just time until he really cracks in.
Okay, I can see it. I mean, Pango is one of his preferred heroes as well. Clearly, they're giving him the keys to be able to unlock this game. They're banning out 2 of the bigger counters to it in the Ember Spirit and the Bloodseeker, and giving him the last pick of the first phase. So clearly putting a lot of value onto it. I mean, his job this game feels to me like find the supports, right? If you can find the Oracle, then you are very quickly able to burst him down. Even the techies to a lesser extent, right? And it's not like they even have... It depends, right? With the Oracle, if you're on point with your timing, you could start channeling that Fortune's End right towards the end of the Rolling Thunder and still have that lingering route afterwards where you might actually be able to get a turnaround kill with whoever it is that you might be looking to go for, right? Is it the Concoction? Is it the techies with, like, a rooted player that's going to get blast off?
Radiant team
It's pretty solid response to it overall.
Потрібна моя допомога.
An event.
Я вже біжу.
Huh. That was a hero that was changed a decent amount as well, right? Oh, I still got the wrong patch notes up. I mean, you got your...
It's a lot of physical damage that they're having to deal with, basically, off the back of
10
this fix.
seconds remaining.
And what, more than likely it's going to be your support
5
as
seconds
well?
remaining.
Probably the 4 or 5? I don't know. Like, do you have a preference with where you'd like to see the Venge for Nemiga?
I think as a 5, it's always so solid, right? Because, again, a lot of the damage output that you're increasing off of your Vengeance Aura is percentage, right? So when you've got a Terrorblade to be able to play with, who's just going to be dealing a crap load of damage off the back of his Metamorphosis, then it just feels incredibly solid.
Yes, so got some little touch-ups. So for the letter patches, of course, the response from Panda is going to be the Beastmaster as well. So we'll see... I mean, I believe this is going to be the Alchemist over to Ramses. There's some potential for the Beastmaster to be put as a 2, but it doesn't really seem like
5
a
seconds
hero that
remaining.
Kiyotaka will play. I don't believe I saw it at the Major as well. So,
Dire team back.
what do we make of this? Why are you putting the Alchemist as a 1, and what are you looking to do with the Beastmaster getting picked up from Pandas?
I mean, it's not as big of an issue as it was before, considering the Doom has gotten little armor buffs over time, like 1 armor here, literally unkillable, yada yada yada, but Alchemist is still a pretty good laner against it, right? Like, the Acid Spray shoves the lane out, the Acid Spray puts you into that minus armor area, or even just 0 armor where you're taking a lot more damage, Concoction as well, you can have a lot of kill threat there, and even just pushing the wave out passively with a Concoction, with the Acid Spray takes away a lot of Doom's kill threat as well for the lane. So I think that's good. But more importantly, they just saw an option to be able to pick a duo that does a ton of magic damage that's really able to abuse this Terrorblade in lane. They're clearly not thinking that Venge, with her relatively low attack range, is going to be able to do much to really influence that lane, if it is indeed going to be a Venge 5. It might be a Venge 4, and they've still got their position 5 to come.
Which is, at least for Pandas at the moment, they banned up the Silencer, so we're going to try and
10 seconds remaining.
take care of another hero. I wouldn't mind like a support that's able to help play aggressive with the Terrorblade, because this hero, of course, can do a lot of damage inside the lane with that meta, so like a slower stun could be
CM.
nice, or... She's still in. I mean, sure. Why not?
CM feels pretty solid to me.
10
Again, just
seconds
more
remaining.
stuff that's going to keep people held in place, right? Like you
5
take away,
seconds
not that you
remaining.
really use the boars in the lane, but it takes away a little bit of that tool. You're able to secure some of these really range creeps that they really want.
Thank God. Let's go. We get to see Clinks.
You want to see it? You want to see the support clicks come through?
Yeah, I do. I think this hero is really, really broken right now, and I'm just seeing it spammed in pubs, on people's
10
streams,
seconds
and
remaining.
now we get to see it as well in some pro games after people coming back from the Major.
5
So
seconds remaining.
see what the
Kind of
call is going to
feels
be
a
from...
little like the Invis heroes are kind of busted right now, don't you reckon?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
Bounty
yeah,
Hunter is,
yeah.
Nyx is, Clinks is, Ricky is still getting some decent play in some areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's the change with the sentries, maybe from 10 to 8 count with 7.33, and now they did get buffed up a little bit with the letter patch, so we'll see if that continues.
Just a bigger map to be able to play around with as well. Okay. Is this a mid-earth spirit?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to check, but I don't think he played that at the Major. I do want to
Okay.
check, though, because I was thinking of a Tiny. I thought Kiyotaka might go down that route. for some burst versus some of the heroes that Nemiga has. I know Kiyotaka, I'm not a big fan of Tiny, but I think if anyone's going to be able to pull it off, it's him. His Tiny can just take over games, but go on the Earth Spirit route. So a very mobile hero. You can get active very, very early on. You've got some nice lanes to be able to gank as well. I mean, it's going to be an Alchemist Oracle or a Beastmaster Techies, but what do you really make of the mid Earth Spirit? Like, what does this hero provide that maybe some other mid heroes would not have?
What other heroes would not have, I think,
10
is
seconds remaining.
the sticking point of that one, right? Like you said, there are a few heroes that were
5
options,
seconds
but
remaining.
I mean, I guess you feel like they just needed a little bit of magic damage to control the TB, right? Something that's going to make early rotations towards it to make it a little bit more challenging. I think a Primal Beast could have worked just as well in this sort of scenario, but maybe they're just valuing something like the silence that goes over a bit of a longer period of time to prevent things like the Venge swap save and things of that nature, whereas Primal Beast, it's a lot more single target focused, even though you might not necessarily be directly countered by anyone.
So I did just check. It doesn't look like he played any Earth Spirit at the major. So we've at least got a new recent hero for Mr. Kiyotaka.
It's a 4 clinks, by the way.
4 clinks? Okay. So even though I've said it's been getting spammed a lot in high-level pubs, and starting to see it a little bit more in competitive games now, with, of course, everything being back up and running, I actually even haven't had an opportunity to watch like a full game of the clinks. I've only seen like parts of games towards the end when this hero is already taken over. But from what I've seen, it's pretty much Solar Crest is like a guarantee on this hero. And then from there, your item builds are very versatile. Do you have any follow-up? Like, have you seen more clinks than I have?
You can also go the Phylactery as well, just because it's now that it's got the mana regen over time, it's going to let you be a little bit more flexible there. But we'll get onto that once we do get into the game. Before that, we've got to have a quick look at who's let this happen.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600, cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
There we go, back underway. This is what I was waiting for. You know, a game where I can actually lock in and like watch the clinks intently and see, you know, I can now read some of the abilities because I still don't even really have a good understanding of Tar Bomb, and I can, it's always different, isn't it, when you're like casting games compared to watching on Twitch with
30 seconds to battle.
how in depth you're able to go with
Sure.
Radiant's courier has been
I
killed.
feel like I get a better understanding when I'm casting it.
yeah.
Because you could look at what you want at certain points of the game. You don't have to worry about, oh, why isn't the observer looking at this? Blah, blah, blah. We get control. We've got the power.
We've got the power. We've got the power to see who's going to be able
We
to
could just
come
watch
out
it
on
Dota
top.
TV, but the power of Twitch chat is just too alluring.
I do.
The battle
That's
begins.
it's a scary place to be sometimes, Vazio.
Mid lane's a scary place to be.
Have the river run of blood, but not going to be the case. No kills, just some back and forth. And the bounty rune advantage looks like it's going to be 3 for the pandas. So, of course, Ramsey's going to be... Wait, 3? Yes, 3. So, Ramsey's going to be pretty happy with that. Cool innate ability. Very cool.
I mean, it gives basically nothing, dude. It's worth so little at this early stage of the game. But every little bit does count. I mean, the other good thing about... So I was talking about the Phylactery as another option to the Solar Crest if you were wanting to go down that route. Tar Bomb, it's a unit target thing, so kind of like... What's the best example? I guess Fortune's End is another one that acts the similar way. You just target someone with it. It's not something that you put on the ground. And so that happens every 4 seconds. Phylactery cooldown every 6. So you're basically just getting an extra 150 damage every 6 seconds when you're looking to spam this one out. And it's a slow on top of the Tar Bomb slow. So you're going to get a couple of right clicks out of it as well. And now it gives mana regen. So now you're also going to be able to just stay out on the map and be totally fine. I mean, I've seen support clinks even go into, like, eventually a Desolator and just with the amount of farm that you're able to get on the map, just be like a core clicks basically if you get to the mid to late stages of the game. Like really start to deal out a lot of that damage.
Kiyotaka? So it was a nice kick before getting Melreen under the tower, a little bit of extra damage, but we're still going to play aggressive. Unfortunately, it's having a bit more of a trickier time to try and secure some of the CS 9-4 compared to the 4-0 early on.
Tricky. I mean, again, you see that even with the nerfs to the base damage, Pango still has a little bit of that advantage, right? The 3 branches backpack just to make better use out of the bottle, but as soon as they become active again, that's +7 damage for the Pangolier, just off being a universal hero.
I swear Urspirit's strength game was high on 3.8. I thought it was like 4 or something, like 4.1.
Yeah, it used to be one of the highest in the game, behind like Centaur and Primal.
Top lane. Mazur off to a good start here with the Doom. He's got that chain lightning creep, so let's see if he wants to just rush the arcane boots or not. He's got the brown boots. I believe he went actually for the ring of health at the Eco, so at the secret shop, so wanting a little bit of extra sustain for himself now. Let's see what the call is going to be afterwards, but regardless, it was a very big kill onto Ramsey's Alchemist.
Not a lot of emphasis being put onto blocking either of these camps so far. I don't think we've even seen a... What happened? I don't think we have. From either team. So this top lane, obviously it's not the full small camp that with the Harpies that's going to be removed, but I mean, they've just been consistently pulling this one through to potentially look to pick up a lot of that farm really quickly or just deny away a lot of that alpha. Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, he was able to step on out, and now they might be able to turn it back on to So Bad. Sticky Bomb's up in a couple of seconds, but you see Violent posturing a little bit aggressive, trying to prevent Pandas from continuing to chase down his support. So regardless, I mean, Violent eats a lot of damage as well. He's got a pretty big one to use. Just got to be cautious on how much they continue to play aggressive.
They've got to be very careful as well. I mean, So Bad is able to force you to take a ton of damage as well. Like, maybe now with a meta gone, they're going to be playing a whole lot more aggressively, but I mean, even just the single point in the Wave of Terror could have potentially brought down Viero to 0 armor, but he realizes that, so he's got the Ring of Protection just to make sure that his armor always stays in the positives, and they're even going to look to go for a dive here.
And they're going to get So Bad as well, and his techies is just so goddamn good, man. That double stun to get both of them, and they're going to miss a pretty decent wave as well in this lane too, so a really good start for 9 Pandas.
Oh, I was wondering if Miero might be trying to get like the second half of that wave or something like that, just to try and deny away the range creep. It's like, oh, they will be able to do it after the fact. Taras is such a good player, man, on the bottom side. As we look towards mid, though, Kiyotaka, he's having a little bit of a rougher time. I mean, Pango is still busted, so it's kind of understandable. As, well, based off the early game, it's looking even-ish, but clearly 9 Pandas, you know, a little bit preferred right now, 1.2.
A little bit. I'd say that's a pretty hefty preferred, thanks to EGB, so I know that Pandas, we'll see if what they're able to continue on. For me though, what does his Venge do bottom? If you don't get kills with Metamorphoses, what does this hero now do in the lane? It just feels like you offer a lot as the game goes on with the save in swap and the Vengeance already to be able to buff up your TB, but it feels like you're just a bot inside the lane if you're unable to get kills, and now they're playing from behind.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe you're going to need Melreen to make a rotation down bottom just to be able to respond to this this siege creep that they've got coming in. Again, like it's 2 points in the Call of the Wild Boar, so they are going to be able to potentially get some damage in onto the tower, but I have to wonder if the Venge is literally just there to have that that Wave of Terror available around the meta timing. I mean, you don't really want to just use it to draw aggro off of the tower, because I feel like the arrow is just going to kill you if you look to go down that route, and this is another time that we've seen Techies just be able to build up a ton of these stacks for his team as well.
Very cool. Ari's with an early point in the taser. Looks like he might still be in some trouble though. Melreen Not going to be forced to use the Rolling Thunders, able to catch up to him, but meanwhile Kiyotaka, it'll be a 1-for-1 for both the mid laners, and Mira is wanting to get involved as well, just in case Melreen looks to take the stack.
Looks like Mira is just going to stick around, make sure that it gets taken away for his team, of course. Spirit, not exactly the most reliable taker of this this stack, or quick. So much better for a Beastmaster to be able to pick this one up. Just straight back to the lane, really can't afford to give Terrorblade too much space as, well, looks like Antares will be able to get one more stack off before just going to pick up that Wisdom Rune. So you can see Radiant already scanning to see if someone was there to be able to steal it away from them. Looks like it'll be a 1-for-1 trade. Both of these teams having a good understanding of giving the supports a chance to be able to continue with that early game influence. And Hellscream in particular, like he's going into the Solar Crest build. Might just be the medallion. It's pretty good value when you connect together with a Pango, with Avenge. I mean, it's a lot of minus armor that you're having to contend with.
Because I'm just trying to see what the role is going to be for Hellscream in this game. Because as soon as you get medallion, I mean, just that item in itself offers you some kill potential onto the supports as well. So it feels like his role is probably going to be killing solo through majority of the fights. Is there anything solo can kind of do to help prevent the Clinks from always being on top of him?
50 million sentry wards, or just play around the rest of the team. I mean, that is the way to counter a lot of these invis heroes. Like Nyx's probably #1 on the list, but these heroes that thrive on like one-on-one scenarios are ones where you really need to just group up with your team as much as possible. If solo's together with like an Alchemist, for example, Clinks probably can't go for the kill because you're just going to turn it around onto him and get a return kill instead.
Kiyotaka is actually going to roll in. He doesn't have to magnetize to work with this time. And meanwhile, the turnaround Rolling Thunder is going to be there from Melreen. Nine Pandas will need some extra members if they want to come out on top. That's where Mira is able to come into play, but the roll is going to prevent the value out of Melreen's ulti. There's 4 pretty low on the resource for a Guardman. They're going to try and step on over, maybe even see if there's an angle through the twin gates. They've got the Doom to work with though from Vashti, so look to turn to secure the kill onto Solo. There will be no hit back though from Kiyotaka along with the other 9 Pandas members. They're just going to look to try and avoid the area. And looks like they're happy with the 1-for-1 trade, because meanwhile in the mid lane, Tari is getting some free farm, so at least he's able to catch up. And you've already got this bottom tower as well, so in the end, not the worst for 9 Pandas.
Not the worst, but again, we're seeing why Melreen still put a lot of emphasis onto picking up this Pango. It did the most damage that fight. It was able to, again, just be that lockdown that they required. And even just the shield crash to be able to make that turnaround and reliably go back into an Alchemist that didn't, at the time, have too long left on the Chemical Rage. Just way too much to have to deal with. For Ramses, though, he's already got the Sacred Relic picked up for himself, so that's going to feel really nice. He's actually gone for this Spark of Courage neutral item, so one of these ones that had got a buff in recent times. Now, if you're above 50% HP, which you would assume an Alchemist with the Chemical Rage available is going to do, as he pops it just then, plus 18 damage as soon as he ticks above 50% HP, which seems kind of nutty.
Not bad indeed. Even... We're going to make the attempt. What's going on? Looks like maybe just some supports around this mid side of the map. Melreen, though, able to pick up the haste rune, I believe it was, so at least he's got something to look to work with, but it seems like maybe this game might slow down a little bit. Like both sides have taken that tier 1 tower inside the safe lane, so you got the Doom. Vajra looking to get towards his Midas. He's in fact has enough gold for it if he wants it, and of course, I mean, it's a Terrorblade and Alchemist as well on either side. Mid lane though, Kiyotaka. Early use of the Magnetize. There's going to be no follow-up though, so puts it on cooldown for 100 seconds.
You almost wonder if this opens up a bit of a window for them to be able to make something happen, right? Like, he doesn't have any charges left in the Spirit Vessel, and now you've taken away one of your big kill threats in the Magnetize. Maybe they just look to wait for the next 20 seconds for Doom to be available up on this top side and make a rotation to connect up through there. Maybe if they can pick off Alchemist, you know, it'd be huge. He's already finished up the Radiance at least, so that unreliable gold is gone. But anything that you can do to be able to slow down Ramses is going to be phenomenal for this Terrorblade.
Yeah, you need to slow this man down. Just getting way too much farm, that's going to accelerate even further now. We're going to try and bring Sobat up here just in case they need the Venge. Hellscream will be able to scout out. He's going to see Ramsey's position. and gets confirmation that at least the Alchemist is nigh, but he's getting closer to the tier 2 tower.
Hellscape's just burning out to the Radiance as well.
Chemical Rage going to be activated from Ramses. We'll see if they have the burst from Melrin's Rolling Thunder, and it looks like that's going to be the case. Solo a little bit too late to keep his carry alive, and Nemiga will be able to get out as well with the kill.
I was really expecting them to only be able to secure that kill if they had the Doom available as well, but again, just using, once again, these Invis heroes to their fullest potential, right? Using it as a scouting tool. Some additional damage, having the Medallion of Courage as well, of course, doesn't hurt matters. And this is prior to Pango even having a single point in that lucky shot, which is going to start to shred some of these heroes once he starts maxing that one out. He's got that Fuse Blade as well.
Antares? Who's going on who currently? Tex is going to have plenty of attention for so bad. Gets some mitigation over the swap, and that might be enough to keep him alive. As Mallory and Violent, they've even swung their attention on over, but Kiyotaka will have the last laugh.
He's got the shield
Well,
room.
actually,
Out of mana.
There's more of a laugh going on right now. Mallory is going to need some assistance. Where the boys, Violent, he'll activate the meta, but this is an early stage Terrorblade. He doesn't have the damage to go through the Earth Spirit's health pool. As Malrine should tick out to the damage over time. They're even going to reapply and go in. Kiyotaka, he'll get the kill, but it comes at a grave cost at his own life.
That was a cute play. I mean, Hellstream just body blocking the roll through. Still ends up getting the kill. Even with that Spirit Vessel, of course, as well. He, I think, had a Healing Lotus available for the Pangolier, but obviously didn't get full usage out of it because of that healing reduction coming through. So really is going back and forth, and to be honest, this is the Nemiga that we were expecting to see. You know, not getting rolled over by teams. They went undefeated in Division 2, and honestly, they're doing a fairly decent job against a 9 Pandas team that, like we were talking about before, came 3rd at the most recent major.
Is this still like the calm before the storm in a way where you have an Alchemist lineup on Pandas and like blink BKB and they could just be up in the face with an Earth Spirit running? You've got the vision for the Beastmaster, and I mean attack is the pump in the damage. So is this just like, yes, it's a good start from Nemiga, but is it enough? Do their cores need more farm?
I don't think it's necessarily the cause needing more farm, as well, maybe the Skeleton Archer's revealing in the lane is going to reveal that he's got a Clinks on his back, but I think it's just a matter of keeping the Alchemist locked down as much as possible. Like, Malrine specifically didn't buy the Robe of the Magi just to make them feel a little bit safer, that he wasn't close to this Diffusal Blade timing, and then he just buys it up all in one to be able to connect through to that Clinks. Looks like they'll be able to steal it away.
Oh, what's going on here, boys? Pretty deep. Kiyotaka and Tari's trying to steal this room. Malrine just got the Diffusal Blade delivered, so there's a massive spike for the Pangolier. And I mean, as soon as they see that and multiple other members, it's going to force 9 Pandas to look to move one out. So, happy to reposition though. I mean, you still got Miro free farming, Ramses down bottom, Boots of Travel on the Alchemist. Okay.
Man wants to farm.
I honestly, I can't remember if this is, because I know there's some particular alchemists that like brown boots into Radiance, and there's some that like treads into Radiance. I don't remember if Ramses was the brown boots Radiance into Boots of Travel builder at the major. I don't remember.
You know what? From Ramses, he's a man that has his own unique style, right?
Yes.
Like, he's already got the Ogre-Axe available, so he could be going into a BKB fairly shortly. You and I remember from casting when he was back on... who was that team?
CIS3.
It was VP at the time. No, it was VP at the time, where he was standing in for them when they were, barely losing games. He was like, just not buying the BKB. I was like, please, just buy a BKB on, I think, a Nature's Prophet, and he never did. Greed is the way for him, so Boots of Travel, it really does fit his style.
Hey, at least with the Ogre Axe already, it's a... And Mithril Hammer 2 Daniel Gang on. Almost got it. There's potential for the
buy with those.
Nah, yeah, I mean, it's you're playing the Alka, you have to. If you pick this hero not buying BKB, I don't know. There's gonna be a concern. Whoa, Violent and Manta.
Okay.
I mean, there's a decent amount he can dispel, but very interesting. He hasn't gone like the Dragonlance, Yasha, and Tuscany, which we see pretty often versus for the Terrorblades.
It's not like there's anything that he really needs to, like, outrange, though, you know? Like, I could see him going into the Skadi next. It's going to give him a ton of value against an Oracle, against an Alchemist, but the Dragonlance is really only effective if you're trying to, like, not win the range battle, but you know what I mean, right? Be able to contest and keep them away. Alchemist is going to run at you. Earth Spirit is going to run at you, so it really feels like Dragonlance doesn't give you the greatest amount of value.
Structures are fortified.
Speaking of the Alk as well, with that early BKB and the Terrorblade, you're going to be going up into the Reflection as well. So, I mean, it's going to be vital for Ramses to be able to have that just so that he's not burning his own team once those team fights do begin. And I was talking before about a lot of the minus armor, and well, with that, one of the things that you can do is secure Roshan. Lucky Shot, Medallion of Courage, Wave of Terror, they've got plenty.
Of course, it is coming at a cost, those 9 pandas. They're going to be able to take the T2 tower down bottom. Antara is completely shoved in mid, and you have a BKB now completed for Ramses. So these Aegis should mean nothing for Nemiga. I mean, you probably are expecting that they use the meta, so at least there is a decent window for 9 pandas. We'll see if they're going to play like they think the meta was used or not, because if they do accordingly, then they should feel quite strong at this stage. Solar Crest even for Antares as well, so their own Solar Crest to be able to work with, and I feel like a big fight is soon to break out.
Hellstream is going into a little bit more of that solo pick-off style. He just wants to be hunting this Oracle as much as possible with his Solar Crest, with the Death Pact, with the Orchid eventually as well. I'm just looking at Malrine, and I mean, again, nothing too much has changed about the Pango except for, like, damage buffs to universal heroes, in my eyes, and I think that's going to be... Tried to get a swap in onto Solo to be able to quickly pick him off, but he's just going to absolutely rip through a lot of these supports, right? Like, he's going into a point booster and then an Aghanim Scepter, so there's plenty of stats across all fronts.
Dude, he's making so much space. He's making so much space! And now they're gonna jump! Kiyotaka is like, alright, I see a freebie in Hellscream, why not look for the 1-for-1?
Oh!
And he should tick. They'll force another stone, nothing too crazy. They even got a glimpse of so bad. So Kiyotaka, he's going to roll on over it. Now, it's pretty deep, but he's got some boys to follow up, and Ramses is angry. Wants to finally get involved with the Alchemist. Can he find an angle for the concoction? It's going to be a little bit too late. The roll will help the retreat, and still they haven't got on top of Solo as well. So for the False Promise will help Kiyotaka reposition, but they're running away from Ramses on the other side. Now, we'll go back to Malrine now. Of course, this is a Pango that still has the Aegis, though, so you've got to be very hesitant with how you commit on 9 pandas.
And all the while this is happening, TB is just happily farming, you know? Like, Alchemist is actually turning up to this fight, so unless they secure a kill, this is not going to be worth it.
Looks like they will at least. So bad.
Mid lane is kind of pushed as well.
Chemical Rage back up too.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Shoot! Does TB... Do you want to try and defend this? Meta's there. He doesn't have the greatest mana though on Terrorblade.
I mean, you could just shove the waves out there with a swashbuckler, right? They're even going to kill the Alchemist.
Oh, okay. Nice one usage. Just got enough mana. The BKB is going to be able to step on out as well.
Yeah, Greaves gives him enough for the Chemical Rage as well, so just a little bit. I was wondering if he was going to go the BKB or the Chemical Rage to be able to escape, but of course, no way to be able to slow him down if he just pops that BKB instead. Protect this Rouge rune. Yeah, I mean, it's an Alchemist with a pretty early Radiance, and TB is right on his heels. Doom as well.
You should go top now, Nemiga, I think. Shove out mid, stops him from potentially being able to trade. And top lane shoved out where you've got some really good vision to play with, and importantly though, you're connecting with your Terrorblade, so... They're not gonna give it up for free. Without the glyph, it's gonna force them to react faster. Kiyotaka's gonna look to try and start. They've still got the Aegis, but they'll burn it instantly without committing too heavily. What are they going to do off the back of the respawn here from Nemiga? They're in a lot of trouble in regards to their positioning. Ataris finds the angle for the double stun. Meanwhile, the Raw's going to hold the Rolling Thunder into place from Malrine, but there was really no follow-up inside that. Violent has a free fight at the moment here from the Terrorblade, but it's still going to be cautious. Pandas looking to try and tick him down from afar. They don't want to commit too heavily up in the face of Nemiga, but the kiting isn't going to work in their own favor throughout a longer drawn-out fight as Kiyotaka back into the middle. Well, he'll pay the ultimate price, and now Solo's going to go down as well as Nemiga. They're able to catch up to the captain, and not only the captain, they'll catch up to Antares as well as Ramsey jumps on over to try and protect him. Chemical Rage is out, but that's not going to matter as Nemiga, they will back on up.
Didn't even need to use the Sunder that time around. You could see that Violent was just looking for a target consistently, but what was more impressive was the vision that his supports were providing, allowing him to just sidestep every single time that Kiyotaka was trying to get in on top of him and get full value out of the Magnetize and all of that silence and magic damage that could do something into this TB. But because of that, because of a successful team fight, now he's got the Skadi. Now you've got that to worry about, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see him just go straight BKB after this.
See that?
Closing in.
It is, man. These odds are closing in. DB still feeling like it's a little bit favored for 9 Pandas, but we saw it was much more in their favor early on. It's, at least in regards to Dota, it's only a 1,000 net worth lead, large win probably. And you got to say the big thing, right, is the fact that Nemiga have, I think they're maybe like 2 fights away of being in prime position, because you still haven't weathered the storm yet. We know this Terrorblade versus Alchemist is great as the game goes later and later, but we're not at that stage just yet where the TB will be able to outmatch him.
I don't know, man. Like, Vasha has Pipe, Greaves, Crimson Guard now. Like, he's a big boy, and you consider this is against an Alchemist as well, right?
Oh no, keep on. Is it gonna matter though? I mean, look at him, dude. Greaves activated, didn't activate the Pipe or the Crimson. He's gonna turn, great reaction out of the BKB. It's gonna mitigate some of the damage inside the Doom. But it seems like Nemiga brought every single member to protect Vazir and hit back. Making sure 9 Pandas will think twice about going for another aggressive maneuver. Now, Miro, a nice use of the Raw, puts Melreen in a very awkward position. Rams is going to jump over the top as well. Sunder, what happened there? Violent. He's down to a low health pool, so the Terrorblade's forced to run away, and he can't act as a protection to keep Melreen alive. So in the end, was a buyback out of Solo, and you even got the kill onto Kiyotaka as well. So it will be a 2 for 2, but pretty decent fight there for the boys on Pandas.
And you can see that Kiyotaka is doing a lot of damage. It's just that a lot of it is getting mitigated, right? Like, this is post-mitigation damage. He's doing 4.7k. That's through a Pipe. That's with Greaves. That's with the Crimson Guard being popped as well. Because he's right-clicking in these fights as well. It's an Earth Spirit. Like, he's going to be dealing an okay amount of right-click damage as well. But it's just not enough still. Maybe once he gets into the Kaya Sanj, it's going to be a little bit more overwhelming. But this is scary to have to go up against. And now as well, you've got a level 15 Pango. So he's got that level 15 talent. He's got the Aghanim Scepter finished up as well. It's a lot to have to deal with in terms of like damage reduction and just reducing a lot of what 9 Pandas are able to throw back at them. You'd have to say though that based off of that fight, they're like, all right, we're not killing Vazir. Like, it's just not happening. We have to kill someone else. But who though?
Yeah, who is that else going to be? Potentially the Venge, potentially Hellscream, maybe some of these squishy supports. Clinks is not really that with the death pack though. Lucky man that is nowadays. Still Pandas.
Radiant are scanning.
Look to try and move top really on Clinks. So he does indeed. A great read though from Nemiga. The scan was on the mark. They're going to be pretty quick with getting out though, and looks like they went down to the creeps instead of continuing to chase towards the twin gate. So they will get out of danger.
I love that the courier goes through the gate as well.
I forget that, man, I actually forget that mechanic too often. So
anything that moves.
Yeah.
Anything that moves can go through.
I'll just go through the twin gate, and the core is so close to connecting to me at the other side, and I'll have to send it all the way back across the map. But I'll remember now. Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Dire's bottom tower is under
moving.
attack.
The days of Venno Wards being able to go through the twin gate are over, unfortunately.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Tombstone as well, I imagine can't now too.
Is under attack.
If it's stationary,
Dire's
does
bottom
not work.
tower is under attack.
At first they did, which was silly.
Loved it.
Dire's
Free
bottom
scouting,
tower-
risk-free.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Sure, just send them back and forth through the twin gates.
Radiant's
Makes it,
middle tower
who needs to
is
place
under
the
attack.
wards there?
Dire's bottom tower is
You're
under
a mission
attack.
to work with.
This is twice now in 2 different series that we've seen people just walking around underneath the enemy's watcher and just like, hey, this is actually active. Like, oh yeah, it was blue. I thought it was friendly.
Dire's bottom tower is under
See that
attack.
they've got the watcher activated.
Radiant's top
Let's see if
tower
Solo
is
wants to
under
take that
attack.
one away, or if they're just wanting to keep their presence here hidden for as much as possible. Nemiga, they're going for a full-on wraparound.
They have a really good mine and hawk set up there. They might scout this out. They're actually even
Dire's middle
thinking maybe they
tower
buy
is under
Roche.
attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Tara's
I'll get
gonna be the
confirmation
one.
now.
Yeah.
It seems like an. Sides are well aware that very difficult to cross that line. Stick on the high ground, stick in this power position that they've got currently.
That Hawk's giving them a lot of information, at least around the Roche pit, so they know the only avenue that they're coming is from
Whoa,
the
whoa,
side.
whoa.
Miero has to be careful.
Dire's bottom
Solo as well, they're both clumped up together.
He bought back on the
This
Oracle.
could be a prime opportunity for Melrine to disrupt some of the heroes towards the backline. Is going to try and do just that. Turns it back around with a roll-up. They've been able to enable violence. So Oracle's down. Meanwhile, off to the right side, the Doom's going to be onto Ramses as well. But he's activated the Chemical Rage, so Ramses is out of danger. And the rest of 9 Pandas be able to get out along with him as well. And Tyrus is still sticking around. Kiyotaka is more to the north. They got a glimpse of the Earth, but they blocked the road. Kiyotaka is in some trouble now as well. With this guard, he's slow. There's going to be no escape. A big crit to slam away his life. And now they'll be able to catch up to Antares too. So 9 Pandas. It'll be a 3-for-1 meta. Well, it doesn't have too long left, but it looks like with the numbers advantage they've got on Nemiga, they should still be able to get Roche.
I mean, that was the important thing, right? Like, you take out the Oracle, you know 100% that he does not have buyback at the end of all of that. And, well, it's going to open this up. It costs the dieback out of your Vengeful Spirit, but again, like, this isn't the greedy style of Venge that we've seen over the years, right? Where you go into the Aghanim Scepter, you're forced to make space for it. This is very selfless, let's call it. You know, 0, 9, and 7. It's all just about enabling your team through the swaps, preventing you from getting 100 to 0.
Radiant's
And Dano, this is really not good, man. They're not finishing Roche and Dire back alive in our meta. You have to fight. Are you going to be able to come out on top before everyone looks to connect? Solo.
They might kill him again, though.
It's going to be brought down. Now, Kiyotaka's a bit split from the team. Ram's going to try and find the jump. It's onto the Clinks, though. Not the valuable member you want to take out of the equation. And now Elk, he's just getting kited. Bashes are there with the BKB not to work with. Rams is in a lot of danger. And Violent, he'll slam the door shut. Now they'll turn over to Kiyotaka as well as the Nemiga. Great read from them. They're like, we can't stick around for Roche. We need to bring the 9 Pandas members down before they all pump up as 5, and they do just that.
What happened there? Did Solo just TP in onto the outpost and get picked?
I think so. I think
have
so
to
before
imagine.
the rest of the team was there.
There's no other way for him to instantly get to that fight. So, yeah, still playing around the vision that they had around the Roche pit previously. And, I mean, they didn't even need the Metamorphosis to be able to do that. So now, with that minus armor, they're going to be... Never mind, he's going bottom.
Wait, what's going on?
He's going to his summer home.
No. I was like, hang on. Miro and Solo are here. Are they doing some crazy stuff where they're predicting this? But... So,
Not even him.
what do Pandas actually do? How do you find a way back into this game? It definitely feels like you've lost your Alchemist window, and you're playing with a Earth Spirit mid laner, and Beastmaster scales quite well, but
He's got the
what's
slum
Earth
now.
Spirit got? But, okay, what's Kiyotaka do as this game goes on the Earth Spirit? Like, where do we get that value scaling from him?
Alright, so here's the... Oh, Ramses.
They're gonna make a jump on this? Solo's nearby to be able to protect him for a little. Look at the damage on Violent, though. Forces out with the BKB for the runaway, but they're not fighting throughout this duration as... Oh, 9 Pandas are in shambles. There's just nothing they can do. Formation's been broken. They've lost their timing, and it is just all Nemiga now in this game 1.
Doing his best to try and cut the wave as Ramses. He doesn't have the BKB, so he has to be very careful with how long he stays. Don't have the basher yet on Melrine, so he should be okay to be able to get his way back to safety, but I mean, the damage has been done. You've still got that wave. They're even going to offensively glyph, so there's no way for them to be able to stop this. No buybacks, no chemical rage for 10 seconds, no BKB. Has to be careful about getting swapped back as well. So bad, who was hungry for it. He's the one holding on to the cheese as well, just so that he's got that extra little bit of a safety net if he does put himself right into harm's way. But I mean, what I was about to say before they went for that jump on Ramses that didn't end up working out was you got to take out Melreen. I mean, you were saying before that this man is an absolute star, and he's really showing it this game. The Pangolier has had by far the highest influence, in my opinion, just with the amount of damage that he's able to deal with the disarms. He's just making support's life a living hell. This was first phase as well, remember?
Yeah, that along with your Doom hero, who you're still calling for to be first phase, definitely wasn't nerfed enough, and Raj just had a solid game, like nothing crazy, just a crapload of auras here for the Doom, and even if he doesn't find the greatest ultimate target, doesn't seem to matter, he's still got a lot of value, and scouted out Mr. Ramses.
Oh, the bash.
They go, oh man, of course! They found that lucky bash, and look at Melreen instantly wanting to try and go towards where he thinks the Oracle is going to be, and Akiyotaka! What's your brother doing here? They'll get in front of him, completely surround the Earth Spirit, make sure there is no avenue for him to be able to duck on out it.
Lanes are pushed at least. Antares did a good job to be able to fix that mid lane as they were going for it. He's going to walk right underneath this ward though, so has to be very careful with his positioning. Ooh, and look at this, Hellscream's even got a nullifier on a Clinks. So, single target pick off, there is nothing that anyone could do to be able to protect themselves against this.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So basically what I was saying before, with the how to kill this Pango, it's got to be like a roll in by Kiyotaka that lands onto the Pango, into a kickback, into a roar, into just blow absolutely everything on him to try and kill him. Because he doesn't exactly have the greatest, like he has no defensive tools right now other than just a lot of HP and people protecting him like the swap and all the Doom auras. If you get him out of that range, then maybe that's going to be enough.
Oh, nice swap back from So Bad. Mira just gets blown up, and now Melreen's ready to go for some more members.
It was
An
so
aggressive
good.
jive, and no one else will be safe as one by one they all get sent packing, and they're even going to call it GG's a drop. This Nemiga. They're going to be able to find a game one here up against 9 Pandas. What a performance.
What a performance. This is the Nemiga that we were wanting to see as well, right? The one that we knew that they had the capability to take games off of these really high quality teams, and there's a lot of smiles going around. Great to see them boot camping as well for what is going to be such a key tour for them. I mean, with the amount of points on offer at the Major, honestly, anyone's game still to be able to maybe scratch their way into one of those TI qualification spots, or at the very least, earn some DPC points to put yourself in the upper bracket once regional quals come around.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? Just overall for the regional qualifiers, just to maybe help out with your position. Because if you're going to make it directly to TI, what you pretty much have to like come first in the region and then
win
also
the
have win the major. So yeah, regardless, just any points to be able to bump yourself in regards to positioning for those eventual qualifiers that we will have coming up. But at least for Nemiga, though, this was a great showing from them in game one. You spoke a lot about what Melreen was able to do as well with the Pangolin. Again, this was first phase, so a lot of value from him, and it really just felt like though from 9 Pandas, we were saying this I mean, we're seeing what the Alchemist and Terrorblade matchup can be like. You have a lot of difficulty with continuing to scale, and you also had some of the other cores that weren't going to be able to match that scaling. So as soon as they just lost a couple of those mid-game fights, it was going to be very difficult for them to even find a potential way back in.
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't feel like Ramses was able to lock in onto a target at all. And this was a man that had an early Radiance, he had a pretty early BKB. You have to wonder if the boost of travel was maybe a little bit too far in terms of greed, right? He eventually got the Blink Dagger, but by that point, Vajra just had way too much that was going to be able to deal with you. So, not sure if that was the greatest option. And I mean, I gotta give props to Melreen, right? He did the most damage by far that game. I think he had the highest kill involvement as well. Yeah, 7, 2, and 18. So he's the MVP for mine.
I think it's going to be I hope we go game 3 just so we get to see the matchup between Kiyotaka and Melreen, because I'd say these are definitely two of the better mid laners over in Eastern Europe. Of course, Kiyotaka just showcased that at the major, and again, Melrin, there's been a lot of hype over his name as well. So it's going to be nice to continue to see if potentially Kiyotaka is able to hit back and get some revenge in that second game, because at least from the lane and from the entirety of the game, it was all Melrin and all Nemiga. But let's see if they're going to be able to continue with momentum. We're going to break, and when we come back, game 2 will be ready to go. Welcome back to the Division 1 for Eastern Europe. Nemiga off to a great start for our final series of the night. But of course, their opponents, the third place team at the recent major in 9 Pandas. I will say though, we had a third place team over in the Lima major in Talon, and that didn't mean too much for them with some of their other performances. So, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll see what Pandas are able to do. We'll see.
Talon still came first in the tour 2.
They did, but then
it was shaky at times, but you know,
my Talon,
I know what you're saying.
My Talon, my Dream League, and my Berlin Major. Where were they, dude? I was high expectations.
They did okay at Berlin. They got top 8.
Okay. All right. Sorry, that was too harsh of me. That's okay. Let's see what 9 Pandas are able to do, though. We do have a draft underway. So.
Hey, Doom's gone. Thank you. that's the biggest thing for mine. You got to get rid of this Doom. We also have to mention Nemiga chose first pick, so I think this is once again going to be them just prioritizing Melrin's hero. Just whatever Melrin wants to play, pick it on the 8th pick. The alternative is if 9 Pandas once again let through this Terrorblade, I think there's the potential that they're going to just give Violent his hero as well, because I think he plays the Terrorblade much better than almost any other hero. So I think if you just want to give a guy comfort, do it. But, you know, it's going to need to be a team decision. Like, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It just depends what you think is good for that draft. No Deucer. Here we go, Lockie. This is what we like to see. No Doom, no Deucer. I had a quick look on Twitter, and Quinn has just made a tweet. Doom is the most disgustingly boring, awful concept, and it's been a first ban hero for like 2 years. For the love of humanity, whoever is patching this game, please put him in the dirt. Thank you. I love the thank you at the end. Like, oh, it's just a polite request, you know?
Really?
We love our Quinn, don't we?
I do. I'm a big fan. Big Quinn fan. I said really because I didn't think they would elk with TB still in the pool, but because I think Nemiga are going to TB at the 8th unless Pandas go for a hero that's able to prevent that, or you just, who cares, go for your support and probably put the elk on Miro this game.
I'd go Enchantress right now. I think it's something that solo plays pretty well. It can be good into the Beastmaster. It also a little bit prevents the TB from coming through just off the back of some harassment in terms of your right clicks, as well as being able to convert one of the TB illusions. It can feel kind of okay. You might go a Dispel hero as well, right? Like, I wanted Solo to get a little bit more aggressive, but he was playing an Oracle at the end of the day, right? What can you really do as an Oracle? Yeah, exactly. And a Clinks that was just constantly hunting you, who went pure single target to try and focus you down. Like, if he pre-Orchid, he still probably is going to kill you unless you false promise yourself, you know, just off the back of a Solar Crest and Death Pact. Post that, what can you do? They do go down the Enchantress route, and so they say, alright, TB, at least at this point, isn't going to give us an insane amount of value, so let's just go with, again, what provided us a ton of utility last time around.
Ring should be able to get an even better matchup with being able to ban out some of the heroes to protect the Pango now.
He did the same last time. Ember was gone, and Bloodseeker were the 2 that he really prioritized here. Can't imagine it being any different, to be honest. There we go. I can't remember what the third hero was that was banned out.
For Nemiga?
Yeah.
Nah, Storm was first. I thought it was first phase. I might be wrong now, actually.
I'll have a look. Don't worry about it. You just sit there and look pretty. So it was Naga Siren.
It was Naga? Okay. So what do we make of the Pango being here instead of the Terrorblade? Is this Nemiga... They feel maybe the carry pool is wider? Do they feel the mid pool is lesser? Is Pango just a better hero for their playstyle? Like, what can we make of the Pango instead of the Terrorblade?
I think Pango on 8 is just busted, especially when you're going up against we're assuming that this could be a position 1 Alchemist like we saw last game, but it's not like you're a ranged hero. It's not like you're a Deucer or whatever else where you're still going to be able to deal a ton of damage to Pango while he's in the Rolling Thunder. Like, I think if you're popping BKB and trying to chase a Pango, probably not going to work out too well, right? You really just don't do anything against the Pangolier, so it makes fights a little bit more challenging. Whereas if they can somehow get a range carry of their own, makes it a little bit more difficult. You can't really go Deucer, though, because, again, you're into a Pangolier who's got to buy a Diffusal Blade, and it's banned as well, so that makes it really hard.
They're taking a lot of time to be able to work out what they want to try and get rid of. It will be the Naga once again, so...
Just the route for the Rolling Thunder feels, not great, you know. That game around, he didn't go Maelstrom either. Just a lot more utility in terms of the Diffusal into the Ags, into the Basher. Felt pretty solid to me, so why not just go back down that sort of route? They got rid of the Clinks, maybe just wanting to give the supports a bit of an easier time. I don't think it influenced that much in terms of like the laning stage, but certainly in terms of what supports were able to do around the map, it completely prevented that.
I think for Antares, we could just be looking at your classic techie Sky, something that, of course, is really two best heroes. So unless they want to try and deter away from that, of course, a lot of value between the two as well to being able to control the Pango, maybe a little bit more with the Sky. Just I think the Mystic Flare might be easier. Not Mystic Flare, sorry, Ancient Seal.
And remember, again, you can cast it towards the end of the Rolling Thunder, just to make sure that he's not going to like swashbuckle and get another shield crash away. Kind of similar to what we were talking about with the Crystal Maiden before.
I think that's going to be a mechanic that takes a little bit more time for people to
adjust to.
Adjust to and come accustomed to. Because
but the ones that do,
yes, and it feels like we just haven't seen it enough. So, I mean, there's just been so much chaos going on, so I don't blame them. But like you said, the people that adjust faster, they're really the ones that be able to reap the rewards. Is that Mr. Sky for
10 seconds remaining.
So what can they go now on Nemiga to be able to counter this? I mean, you kind of squish. You know, even the Enchantress, who's a tanky support, Beastmaster and Pango really don't care about that at all, right? You just deal so much burst damage that you know you're not right clicking her ever. Essentially, there's still good blade routes. So I honestly feel like this is a bit of a mistake by Nine Pandas leaving this one in. Again, it's just mega comfort for Violent. It's good against the Alchemist if it's a position 1 Alchemist. If it's a position 3, maybe they've, you know, kind of thought 2 steps ahead, but even then, like, what do you play into the TB then in this sort of scenario?
So I think it's, you either, at the 18th, you pick your Ramses hero and you just get rid of the flex, don't let them have another round of ban to protect it, or you tinker at the 18th, which I think is something else they could be considering. It's definitely not the freest tinker game, though. I think Hawk can always be an issue, and Rolling Thunder, but it might depend on what hero you go for Nemiga. And man, Kiyotaka, this dude is, I think, the best tinker player at the moment.
He's good, but he's against a Beastmaster and a Pango and a potential, like, I don't know, Clockwork.
Dude, I saw him do some wild shit on that hero at one of the major games where he just absolutely took over. I don't think, early on versus Silencer, I don't think it's very good with Global. So
makes it pretty good.
So if we're looking at carries, then for them to flex the Alchemist, what stand out to be able to deal with the Terrorblade?
Something that's able to stay at range, that's able to deal with Pango while he's rolling, that's able to stay away from the Beastmaster.
Dire team banned.
It's not a good Luna game. Quap. Okay. I don't hate this pick. I think mid lane it's good just to be able to mitigate some of the influence of the Pango, and that Aghanim Scepter is really good now on the Queen of Pain. You do so much damage when you're looking to pick this one up. So for those that aren't aware, I'll read it out to you. So it causes Shadow Strike to become a AoE spell, and then when Shadow Strike ends, or it's reapplied to an enemy hero, the target emits a Scream of Pain, emitting nearby enemies. So potentially you can have 5 Scream of Pains erupting in the middle of a team fight on the back of all of the damage that's coming through from the Shadow Strike. I played a game against a Quap, unfortunately, that ended up doing 150,000 damage, and the next closest was like 70. Like, it's a lot. Why can't they ever be on my team? Yes, it was against me. Of course it won.
Of course, of course. Anyone versus you is a free win, so...
Absolutely.
Silly question.
10
We are
seconds
looking
remaining.
for a... I mean, I guess the Silencer could be leaning to the
5 seconds
Beastmaster.
remaining. Radiant
Is
team
that...
ban.
How does that matchup go support-wise, Enchantress Silencer?
I mean,
I would...
Ench has ways to stay at range a little bit easier, right? Like, you just toss out the impetus, run away, and you just wait for it to come back up again and, you know, just harass the Silencer out in that
10
regard. You don't have the
seconds
greatest
remaining.
armor, not that it really matters going against that, but I think you could just get
5
bullied a little bit
seconds
too easily.
remaining.
Especially if it's going to be, like... If you're coming
Dire
forward to
team
try and trade with the Enchantress, then if it's an off-lane Alchemist, like we're kind of expecting, then you're just going to get concoctioned and die. So I think it's going to be Ench favored. If that even is the lane. Might be a Silencer into the Skywrath, so...
Yeah, and the reason I just wanted to try and pick your brain to
10
see what do we feel like
seconds
Nemiga
remaining.
need in regards to their support, because we are still looking for a support, whether it's going to be so bad
5
or
seconds
Hellscream Zero.
remaining.
They've got enough, like, to stand in front of the Terrorblade. I think they just need more stuff that's just stand and fight, you know? So is that another stun? Is that... I mean, the techies just got banned out, so it's not going to be that, but... I wouldn't hate something like a Willow or something along those lines, just because, again, it's something really that you don't care at all about the Enchantress and all of her, you know,
Radiant
untouchable
team
BS.
pick.
You don't really care about the Skywrath mage that much. Let's go. And it's just more burst damage. I mean, Darkseer always into a TB feels kind of nice, but who are you really putting the Ion Shell on top of here is my main issue, right? You're not going to get insane value out of it, is essentially what I'm saying. You're not playing with a Tiny or a Spirit Breaker or a Clockwork or an Earth Spirit or a Tusk or... I could go on, you know? Maybe you put it onto Kiyotaka when you blink in and land this 5-man Aghanim Scepter Shadow Strike and everything explodes around you. That's going to be enough, but I'm pretty favorable towards this Nemiga draft again, to be honest.
Do we feel like the Darkseer opens up their scaling though?
10
Because
seconds
Darkseer versus
remaining.
TB and Beastmaster is very, very good with the
5
illusions and
seconds
all the
remaining.
auras. So is that because again it's an Alchemist carry versus a Terrorblade? Like we said, TB is going to be favored as the game goes on. But does the Darkseer change that though?
It's going to have to. I mean, the thing is that, like we were saying before, Miero doesn't really have anyone to play with. A lot of this is just on the back of himself. You know, there's not even anyone that's going to be initiating fights for him a lot of the time, right? Like, who is your frontliner outside of this Alchemist? So it feels like they're going to need to be very passive for the first little bit, at least in terms of taking those full 5-on-5 fights. But once they feel like they've hit their timings and, you know, Alchemist has a Blink BKB plus Radiance, that's the time where I think they're going to go in. If the fights go well, it sets up for that big wall of replica. If not, it really doesn't feel like they can do that much.
Yeah, you kind of feel like they're live or die by the Darkseer, I suppose, in some of the mid-game fights. This could be a game where Ramses and Kiyotaka just take over once the Ags is picked up on the Quap, and once we kind of get the Radiance and your BKB Blink. The Alchemist could just do Elk things, but if they don't have good fights where it's convincing, is it just live or die by this wall, pretty much?
Yes. Like, if it gets to that stage, then that's going to be the instance that we're in. They're hoping that the early game's going to go a little bit better than that, and a few of those early rotations might come off a bit better.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600. Cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
Draft is done, and we got our 5-man smoke from either side. Nothing. No surprises here. Down to bottom. Down to the new ward.
Fighting
Some
around it.
5-on-5s.
Yeah. Be careful of who goes first. TB, the first one to pop it, with all the boys sitting around behind him, but they know that this is a no-go area, that's for sure. Even just thinking, like, are they going to look to try and go for any sort of these pulls, right?
Dude, what? I'm looking at Nemiga and your Beastmasters. a master tier, you got a Grandmaster Willow,
seconds
and then
to
both the
battle.
TB and Pango are master tier as well. So,
And then a bronze silence.
come on, so bad. What are you doing, man? This is
Pay up to Gaben is what you need to do.
gotta step your game up.
Alright, I want to see when Kiyotaka chooses to go Axe, because I think it needs to be pretty early. I've seen it like second item, like real early on, just because of how much
The
it's
battle
able to
begins.
provide a lot of early pressure onto the map, because that's normally before the point where this is a Beastmaster, right? So what is the item build that Vaj is going to go for? That's the real thing that I'm thinking of, right? Like, you kind of want the Helm of the Dominator and the eventually Helm of the Overlord, but you also do need to go into these Auras builds, because otherwise you're just going to have an overwhelming amount of magic damage that 9 Pandas are throwing at you. What's going on here?
What's
Vaj
going on?
is hanging a long way back from the bottom lane.
Maybe just wanted to see the second support. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, so bad. It's going to be the one that gets picked off. Be able to start this one off. It's just a 2-on-2. This is what I'm talking about, right? If you go in too deep on this silencer, they've got tools to kill you no matter what lane it is. If it was bottom, then they probably could have gotten a kill with an Alchemist plus an Enchantress, and if it's top, you just saw there what Antares was able to do. He had to use a Blood Grenade, but probably wasn't even necessary.
Solo even gonna force Hellscream to TP away on the Dark Willow, so we're back to the T2 towers. Got plenty of regen as well for Hellscream to be able to heal back on up. But let's take a look at this mid matchup. This should be a much better lane for Kiyotaka, right?
Oh, yeah.
Than what we saw prior.
By far, by far. And, I mean, this is even one of those ones where you...
Alright, it's actually Vajra down bottom. I was looking at top. I thought Violent was gonna go down to the Darks here in the sky, but so bad definitely will it looks like Antares has so much damage on the sky already.
I mean, it's important that he did, because he's running already kind of low on the mana resources. Of course, with those, the kill and the assist, he's going to have a lot more at his disposal. Also means that Miera is able to get into this early ring of health. Not quite yet level 3, so I don't think they're in a state to start going for the dive. Also a minute away from being able to get a offensive glyph going as another death. I mean, these lanes are very clearly going much better for 9 Pandas off the back of those heroes that they were banning out. No Clinks to have to worry about.
Yeah, no Clinks to worry about and no Pango really to worry about, having a good time. I mean, we'll see how Melrain's able to get out of the lane. Might need some support to continue feeding to help refill some of the bottles, honestly. I mean, this is going to be a
Good job,
very
guys.
difficult lane.
You're doing great. Now come to me.
Keep it up. Come on. So,
This honestly feels like a game where Kiyotaka can afford to go more points into the Shadow Strike early on. Like, maybe you want to connect through towards the Alchemist just for more kills to prevent a lot of that tower pressure from coming through from the Beastmaster. But even if you just wanted to level that stuff up in preparation for an early-ish Ags, I think that could work pretty well too.
Yeah. And I mean, Melrain's
Let's get a kill.
very far to work with some stick charges, so Melrain's actually going to be okay. But this, like, if both your side lanes are not going well for Nemiga, and then you have a Queen of Pain that goes maybe 3 or 4 point Shadow Strike, like, why not try and win all 3 lanes? Because the Pango is the way for them really back in. Like, here's your playmaker, your supports need levels, your silencer won't do much, and, well, Hellscream, he needs 6 to be able to get involved in kills, so I wouldn't hate more points in the dagger as well.
Alright. Bodying the Sentry game up on this top side. Is another death down bottom about to come? Yes, indeed. It's going to be Ramsey's claiming this one as well, and we could see maybe there was a bit of a talk about how aggressive he needs to get in terms of his early-ish gameplay. Just going for that super early power treads. I like it. You know, they need to get a lot more brawly this time around before the TB gets out of control.
Yeah, not only is it the itemization, but the playstyle is also matching up to how he's looked to itemize early on from Ramsey. So, I mean, this is what we've seen for quite a while. Like, even though Beastmaster's been first pick material for a long time as top lane, Miera is praying at the sky is able to close the distance at a rapid rate to potentially get that damage to turn it back around. So unfortunately, it's not enough. Antares will still be able to get the kill onto So Bad. Looking for the deny. It was a cute attempt at that, but Violent might be able to get a return. Some one charges. Antares is going to be okay. Violent's going to be so cautious, though. This spell is back up. He's playing a fine line. Ooh.
Antares could go back in here, man. He just popped a salve. I'll put the blood grenade in. There we go. 5 seconds away. Be careful with his positioning. It is still daytime, but maybe in 5 seconds he's going to look to go for a bit of an aggressive play. So Bad, though, even at the risk of himself dying, realizes that he needs to put himself in front of the TB just to prevent any sort of dives onto him.
Who might have to jungle now with Meta on cooldown. Is very, very vulnerable to some of the damage. I mean, Miro as well. This is only 2 points in Iron Shell. Just wait till we find some more points as well into the melee TB. His bottom lane. Jesus, another kill solo. He's going to be the one rewarded for it this time. But, I mean, it's really the one pumping the damage with the 2 points, Acid Spray and Concoction.
Yeah, I mean, this is much more the Enchantress that we're expecting to see. You know, this is a lot more of an aggressive style of support. Or even... what Solo's doing here. So he dewards the sentry, blocking the hard camp. And then gets rid of his own... I don't know. It's a confusing play to me.
So this is huge.
Power room.
Oh, Melrain still doesn't have 6 to work with. That's a really aggressive jump from Kiyotaka. Doesn't land the Sonic Wave onto both heroes. Regardless, though, he didn't get the refill in the bottle as well, and he might be in some trouble. There's a big kill, man. Hellscream's gonna look for it, but... blink over to the safety of the T1 tower is enough. Now, Melrain still has some spells to work with, so if he gets a glimpse of Kiyotaka, he might go for it.
I mean, they've got the ward to be able to play with. Hellscream was looking to plant that one to be able to help out with the Shadow Realm, but they combine them both together. That's rooted.
Raindrops and Strength Treads. But that was pretty much life or death there for Kiyotaka. And our bottom lane...
bullies him out of the lane, though.
Yeah, but the support's rotating away. Vajra might be able to find the deny. In fact, they'll get confirmation of the stack now and still the kill as well.
They're gonna need to... they're actually making a TP happen with Melrain here just to make sure that they don't deny away that Wisdom Rune. Nicely done. Gives them a bottle refill as well, so it's not a completely wasted rotation.
The odds looking 7 minutes in. Going to be very favoring Iron Pandas, and it looks like they are indeed. Thank you, EGB. So Bad. Just trying to steal the other one as well, but Antares was already ready. No, sir. There's no sneaky business going on here. Might go down there. Hang on, yeah, what's going on?
Of course, So Bad.
Hang on, So Bad. Can you get the kill? So Bad! No, Miro! What was that vacuum? And he won! Oh my god.
Okay, worth.
No, come on, stop it now. Not worth at all. What was it? Oh no.
What's he use of the wall for in the next minute and a half?
I'll shove the TB out. Get him in the jungle. Free lane.
See, this is one of those lanes where, you know, we were talking about the DOTA really liking the playing on the Radiant side because of the Wishing Well. No debuff, sorry. 1.5 mana per second, but TB, he wants to be playing up on that top side. You've got the Mighty Mines buff, which is 4 HP per second. So that's exactly why Violent is happy to be playing up here. He's also got the Ring of Basilius to be able to play around with. So they can free up these lanes for the supports to get a little bit of extra farm if they want to.
This could get scary soon where you solo just sends creeps over to the Darkseers lane. I mean, 3 points in the enchant, so a lot of health, a lot of damage. Just give the shell to him and maybe even a surge as well if it's like some centaur creep. It's a lot of emphasis that either side are putting on this mid lane though.
I mean, the tower going down doesn't really stop anything. Like, maybe a little bit of smoke movement, but the map's so big that there are plenty of other places you can go to. It's gonna be okay. Maybe the shield rune. With that safety net.
But the silence popped on Q.
Ooh.
It's gonna end up going down. Solo even finds over there Dukin, so... Kill for him to be able to get. I mean, meanwhile, all the cores are getting their farm though. Like, really no one is not being able to find any farm. Violent might be in some trouble. Was going to be back up from Miro, and he's got Antares to look to play with as well.
Quite level 6 yet.
Doesn't have a skill level, and that's at a cost. He's in some trouble. And, well, there you go.
Dire's top tower.
See, that was
is under
100
attack.
seconds after he used it to kill the silencer. Perfectly fine.
Yes. He was perfectly calculated. Knew exactly when they were going to look to try and play aggressive, and that he wouldn't need it for Nemiga to try and hunt him down. So gets killed, gets a tower. She's going to have such a great timing on this Vanguard mechanism.
He is, and just looking at the opposing position through Belvaja going into a Vanguard, it's like, normally, totally on board, right? If you have a good lane. But this time around, what is it really preventing? You know, everything that an Enchantress, Quap, Sky, and Darkseer are going to be able to do to you, Vanguard doesn't do crap against that, right? Whereas, you know, Alchemist probably not going to be joining the fights that early on, so you have to... The better choice would have been to go into a bit more of this push. I mean, even the pipe, to be honest.
No, I mean, a lot of time this item's a laning item as well, just for you to be able to stay in the lane and not get shoved out. But, I mean, I don't think it does a whole into what he was up against, so... We'll see what he's going to be able to do for Vajra. Had a really good game prior with the Doom, like nothing crazy, but just did his role, and we'll see if he's going to be able to do that this game, though. He has been, you know, kind of left alone for quite some time, so he's finding a decent chunk of farm, but regardless, so it's a 7,000 net worth lead. Even though he went treads on Ramses, this is already a Radiance completed.
Too bad.
Making his own stacks. I mean, kind of value, right?
The stacks of value?
Well, no, just like, I'm being a bit of a dum-dum here, but like with the new increased XP that you get, it doesn't count if you take your own stacks, does it?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think so. You're playing whole screen?
I wouldn't have.
Sound of
God damn, this Mystic Flare bug.
Dire's middle
It's
tower
not being
is
able to
under
see it.
attack.
Yeah. But,
Dire's
yeah,
middle
we
tower
know that.
has
We know
fallen.
it's laid down and plenty of burst, and now they're going to look to infiltrate as well. Getting that tier 1 tower at least makes it maybe
Dire's
easy for them to
middle
wrap
tower
on
is under
bottom and
attack.
take away the triangle, which the Beast and Terrorblade would love to be, and maybe even be able to get that bottom tower as well. Looks like they're going to be able to do so.
Dire's
Just
bottom
mid to
tower
bottom they
is
go.
under attack.
Very fluid.
Even just taking the boar away as well. Using that to more quickly clear out the creep wave, and again, like this is 9 pandas that we were expecting to see. You know, aggressive styles, Alchemist. Yeah, you can go back and farm, but against the
Radiant's
Terrorblade, that's
top
not what you
tower
want
is
to do.
under
If they can
attack.
take away this tier 1 tower, that opens up a possibility.
Oh. Just
Looking to protect the TB, I think.
Dire's bottom
yeah,
tower
I
is
thought
under
so as
attack.
well. I was trying to see if there was anything else going on. They did force Kiyotaka to TP to base. I didn't see anyone around the sun, so though to have follow up. So I think it was just for that TB top who.
Radiant's middle tower is
I
under
mean, this is all on
attack.
TP this game. Melrine is still trying to get towards that diffusal blade. I guess for Radiant, like their pickoff is. It's not even going to be bad. You're going to have full map control. Ramsey's just going to be running it with the BKB Blink. You're going to have the Darks here as well to play with. I mean, Ataris can offer the burst. Kiyotaka's free farming. So I don't even know if it's going to be easy for Nemiga to stall this game out.
No, and you'd have to imagine that 9 pandas are going to look to just make a move again down towards that bottom distant future. Like, you've taken all tier 1 towers. Ramses is able to take a bunch of these stacks. And I mean, it's only a minute away from the second Wisdom Rune, just to give your supports even more of that damage output. Where are they going to go for here? Melry is farming in the jungle. This is probably one of the safest places you could possibly be. But it doesn't seem like he's going to be totally safe. Does he see Kiyotaka?
I think so.
He's going to back off.
Dire's top tower is
Lane
under
out a
attack.
little bit. He's gonna go.
Nice attempt on Ataris. Bottom lane, meanwhile, got the counter solo. What was expanded, I believe, just meta.
No roar as well, dude.
Oh,
Dire
alright.
are scanning.
You know what? He had a streak, and yeah, I mean, it went to the Willow, so it's not as great actually. But if it went to the TB, boy, would that have been worth it.
Definitely would have felt nice if you were able to find this bottom tower, but it's like that's not to be. I mean, where the hell is that creep wave? I don't know where the dire wave is, but
Dire's
wait,
middle tower
alright,
is
somehow
under
it got
attack.
pulled to Dire's triangle. That's where their creeps went. I don't know how they got there, but anyway, so look at the kill on the solo. He's back out to farming, and still. It's stall for Nemiga, but stalling for what? Because this isn't even the biggest spike that Panda's going to be working with this game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yummy Wisdom
I'm just
Rune.
thinking... Yeah, they got the Wisdom Rune, so at least So Bad's built himself up to level 7. A little disappointed that he doesn't have a single point in that Glaives of Wisdom, just to, if they are able to secure a few kills. Maybe they're not expecting to in the next little bit, considering they needed to drop the meta and the Roar just to get an Enchantress kill. But, I mean, that's just going for the Aghanim Scepter as well. A pretty early one on this Beastmaster, and it doesn't really feel like there's anything that it's massively countering, you know? A lot of that slow-ish damage over time isn't going to be effective against an Enchantress once she pops the heal. It's not going to be effective against the Alchemist with a Chemical Rage going, and you've got a Darkseer who's already got 2 of his Auras so far, so I'm really not feeling like it's going to be the most effective as they make a bit of a play up towards this top lane. 2 of them though, not going to be enough. I wonder if not having the Mystic Flare or the Wall of Replica is going to give them the indication to go. I mean, they've just got the Defense Blade delivered from Melrin, so you have to say that maybe they're going to make it happen.
Oh no. Maybe Vajra can get close enough for the Roar, but not to be. That was a lot committed. Hellscream, he's not going to have the damage. Kiyotaka just stands and turns like, yeah, know your place, you fellow support. And now Kiyotaka will even leap over the top and get Vajra along with that. So it was just a very forced attempt from Nemiga. Pandas will at least smoke under the ward, so Dire going to have some idea that this is going on. I believe Melrin? Oh, he didn't get it off. They don't have the Mystic Flare, so maybe that's going to be the damage that they're lacking. Melrin finds a Shield Crush mitigation, but there's just no angle out. Melrin will go down, and another death for Nemiga.
Tara's just able to get regen up to full as well. They can look to make a play once again if they were really wanting to. Mystic Flare up and available again, just 25 seconds until the Wall of Replica. I can understand it from Melrin, like the mid wave was kind of pushing in a little aggressively when they meant for that previous play, but that was your timing, in my opinion, right? To be able to move down bottom and maybe pick up a pretty valuable kill onto Kiyotaka. But instead, they use the global, they don't get the kill, they give up 2 heroes, actually 3 in return for all of that.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah.
Like almost a
Dire's
certainty
middle tower is under
in
attack.
terms of the odds there.
You're getting more and more out of favor. CGB, this is not looking good.
Radiant's bottom tower
Or
is
missing
under
Nemiga
attack.
at all. Hey, they might be able to find their first tower though. So this is silver linings, right? Yeah.
Sure.
This is what they
It's
say.
still a
silver
13k
lining.
net worth lead at 17 minutes. You know, it doesn't feel great, but I mean, you've got that. The Beastmaster is level 12 and has the Drums of
Radiant's
Slom
middle
completed.
tower is under attack. Radiant structures
more
are
stuff. See anything.
Silver.
Medallion, I think, for the Dark Willow. Alright, you've got that.
Radiant's
Yeah.
middle tower has fallen.
Yukio and Antari is here.
Roshan has fallen.
Hello, friends. Do they all go through the rift now? Yes, you'll lose the sky, but it seems like there's a lot of freebies down bottom. No. Boring.
You don't want to just walk up into that when you don't know what's on the other side.
I don't know.
Dire's top tower is under
Sounds
attack.
like a.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Sounds
under
like the
attack.
right
Very
call,
good
but
play.
I don't know. Yeah,
Oh,
sounds
man.
like a.
Solo's going to be a right-click beast, dude. He's got the Grove Bow, he's almost finished up a Dragon Lance, just 600 gold away. He'll have a Hurricane Pike eventually. Unfortunately,
Radiant's
can't
bottom
solo the
tower is
Tormentor
under
anymore. It'll end up killing him.
Dire's
But,
middle
I mean, it's a
tower
pretty
is
good
under
way to be
attack.
able to deal with the TB and even the Pango to a lesser extent.
What's going on bottom lane? Miro. A really good wall from here, and the vacuum to combine with it as well. They're still trying to stand strong and pump some damage into the Darkseer, but Vajra, along with Violent, are both in 2 minds. They don't want to stick around, but Solo, he's still
Raw
hunting for
Solo.
more.
No.
Vajra's going to look to try and TP out, and there won't be a way to prevent that. So, meanwhile, I mean, they're just getting kills across the map, though. Melrin, he's going to go down to Kiyotaka. So, the Queen of Pain doesn't need to be with the boys. Kiyotaka is doing his own thing across the map.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He did it really well last time around in terms of like hiding the
Radiant
diffusal blade
are
until the
scanning.
very end. I think he just needs the stats from one of these items towards the Aghanim Scepter. It's not, you know, a mystery that this is going to go as his next one. At least he's brought up the point booster now, but they're just losing more heroes one by one.
Radiant's middle tower is under
4
attack.
to 20 is the kill score, and they're getting smoked right now. Just pushing
Yeah,
that mid lane. Like, there's nowhere for them to farm. Overwhelming. Just with the next half duration on the chemical rage, they want to look to try and find more. Just with Roshan being taken as well, it just converts all of the watchers to. They've got a good amount of information. They know that they're prepped around this Tormentor. Really, it's going to be super value for them to even try it here. It's just going to leave them way too weak. You can, yeah, Pandas might look to try and steal it away from them instead.
Yeah, attaboy, Mirror.
Take the Watcher. Take the
Attaboy.
Watcher. Goodbye to Sniper.
They're coming? Kiyotaka is not with the team down bottom. They'll get the raw. They might be able to blow him up before he's able to drop the combo. And now Solo as well will be another casualty of war. So Nemiga flying 2. Did they get the Torment? Where'd the Tormentor go?
Edge got it.
Is under attack.
Okay.
But I mean, why were they just doing that under an active Watcher?
Kill themselves.
I mean,
That they're just giving them false sense of security. Look at this. Kiyotaka is just going to wrap behind them and wreck them all. Kiyotaka?
Radiant's top tower
It's a
is under
very aggressive jump in. It's got the illusion to work with. It's going to be able to dispel some of the abilities and actually looks to jump over the right side. Knows how difficult this Dark Wheeler can be inside some of the team fights. Going to try and take him out of the equation, but nicely done. Not going to have a way to cancel the TP, so just go for Vajra instead. Poor old Beastmaster, he doesn't have the same fate as the Dark Willow. Chase down another ultimate even committed as well to try and help secure the kill, and he should take out to the dagger. Kiyotaka, he was even going to make sure he ends up dying. Now meanwhile, Ramses, what? He tried to DP Ramses! No stun though. Alright, great reconcoction still on cooldown. I thought they were going to keep going, ring around the rosy, but no way to cancel it. He's out.
he is out. It's kind of like delaying the inevitable a little bit. I mean, this lane's pushing in a little bit. Al just looking to try and continue to farm, steal away spaces for TB to be able to pick up his stuff. Alright, finally. We're getting closer towards the pipe, which I feel like that's going to be the thing that enables them to maybe take a successful engagement on Nemiga. Once they pick that up and once they've got level 15 on the Terrorblade. I think he's finished up the Hurricane Pike, you'll have an extra 300 health, and you're going to have that Pipe Aura to protect your illusions. I think that could be pretty vital just to make something even remotely look like it's going back in Nemiga's favor. Checking it, not even in there, mate.
You want I should keep punching him, boss?
Dyer's
Teamed
bottom
out to
tower
the
is under
Iron Shell on the creep. Good to see. Mid lane, Melreen. We're going to try and look for a kill into Solo. It does. Nice force. Solo. Perfect timing. It's Rolling Thunder now on cooldown for a little bit of time.
It
Dyer's
is, but
bottom
again, they
tower
don't really
is
need to
under
push the
attack.
advantage that much, right? Like, you've almost got a Basher on the Alchemist, he's not yet level 18. Kiyotaka is 1 level away from his own 18 and 400 gold from Aghanim Scepter. This is a third item Aghanim Scepter after the Kaya Sanj, so a little bit slow to come out, but still, I mean, 24 minute with this amount of farm is very
Radiant's
scary.
top
Like,
tower
Quap
is
does
under
not
attack.
fall off anymore because of this change to the Shadow Strike. It's actually insane how much you're able to do in terms of team fight damage, reliably. You could just toss the Shadow Strike and get the hell out.
Yeah, and we get to see the true strength of it really at the level 20. So see how fast he's going to be able to get there for Mr. Kiyotaka, but of course his tower is going to go down. It doesn't look like there's going to be a response at all for Nemiga. Skadi, I believe, it went Hurricane Pack actually on Violence. You know, Skadi this game.
Dyer's middle tower
Wants to be
is
able
under
to
attack.
stay away from
Dyer's
that
middle
Mystic
tower
Glare.
has fallen.
To be able to keep as much range away from the Alchemist as possible. Speaking of Alch, he's for a little bit of a play. He's got the Radiance Burn off as he walks through here, trying to pick off, Violent. He gets caught by the scan. See you later, TB. Maybe.
Wasn't able to go for it. Now he's going to pay the price. Hellscream as well is going to be chased down. They're trying to come on over there, Nemiga. It's a beautiful wall. They'll still be able to get the kill onto the Darkseid nonetheless, with the Global Silence choose to potentially help the kill, but Mira is able to run on out to the left side, dodges the swashbuckle. Meanwhile, Ramses, he's just cleaning up one by one. Ramses is chasing down some of the supporting cast, and in the end, yes, they won't get Melreen, but they'll get every single other member.
Yeah, and they'll be able to push in onto this high ground. Who needs Chemical Rage when you're able to just dive on in? And again, this is the reveal of the Aghanim Scepter as well, with the Grove Bow, so even more magic resistance reduced. You could just see, like, when you apply a second one, they all just they start to explode. Yeah. This is the Kiyotaka that everyone was fanboying over. He took that loss personally in game number 1.
Dire's middle barracks are under
Maybe he just said to his team, you know what, don't pick me this Earth Spirit mid, please.
No, if you got a first base Pango, don't worry. There's a lot of heroes that I'm able to pick into that, and no worries. No worries at all for 9 Pandas. This one is on fight is all they just be one hit or Hawk, okay. Fight's all they need to be able to close out this game and tie up the series. Looks like we should be going there as well, Violent. Meanwhile, you've already got Antares looking to shove out top with the catapult wave, so they should be able to get the tier 2 tower to open up. Oh, they haven't even got bottom as well, so never mind. At least they'll be able to get the potential second full set of barracks top eventually, but of course they're going to be looking towards that Roshan as well with the second one spawning in 40 seconds.
Hey, we got a pipe. Alright. So, you've got that. TB's level 15. He's got 2,000 gold he's holding on to. What do you even buy, though, at this stage? I think I saw him go start to be building towards a Daedalus. Chrysalis is almost affordable. You start building towards a Skadi just to survive a little bit longer against all this damage. Do you go all in and hope that Roshan is live? Oh, getting every onto the position 5 enchantress again.
They might not... Oh, why is that a poor Melreen, dude? And now Ramses... Oh, the supports are just free food.
And they pop the meta.
Oh, yikers.
And he's giving himself an illusion.
Ooh, run, friend. Oh, they surged up Ramses. There's no escape. Stand or die. Oh. Nice roar from Vajov. Concoction's going to pop onto Ramses. Violent. He's got 0 damage. He's doing his best to pump back into 9 Pandas, but they will stand strong. All the auras just mitigating any little bit of damage Nemiga were working with, and they're going to be forced to call it quits. A double GG from Melreen as well. So in the end, we'll be going the distance for our second series of the night. 9 Pandas able to equal us up.
Yes, they are, and I don't think there's any questions there. For me, it's all Kiyotaka. It was the Kiyotaka show from start to finish. Didn't die a single time, and I mean, even just in that last fight, going for the full-on burst onto the TB, he used the meta to try and, the Manta to try and get rid of the Shadow Strike, and then just ended up blowing himself up because of it, because of the Aghanim Scepter. So these sorts of things that aren't really ingrained into your mind just yet, could really end up catching you off guard. You know, you think that you're able to get that one off before you sunder, but actually that's not really the case.
So, what do we need to look towards for them to do differently heading into Game 3 here for Nemiga? What's some adaptations that they should be trying to focus on?
They got kind of crushed in the lanes, man. I mean, sometimes that's just the situation that happens, you know? Like, you lost every single lane, and there's no real coming back from that. The Quap into the Pango was a good counter pick. The Enchantress into the Beastmaster, also pretty solid. But I really don't feel like Nemiga did themselves any favors with some of their item builds, like the fact that you went into this Vanguard super early on. Didn't really change too much for the Beastmaster when the rest of your team was kind of crumbling around you. So I think just picking supports that are a little bit more reliable in lane with how much pressure that they're able to output is going to go a long way towards some more success in game number 3.
Yeah, let's see if of course the break in between game 2 and 3 is enough time for them to be able to work out what went wrong, what went right, and what they're going to be able to do to potentially hit back, or if it will be the boys on 9 Pandas to be able to start off their 2 or 3 with a win and a strong start. But of course, we need a break, and when we come back, all our questions will be answered. And we're back with our final game of the night. Who will come out on top? Is it going to be 9 Pandas that can start off their 2 or 3 with a strong start, or can they find their first victory for the boys on Nemiga? I mean, they started on day 1 as well, so for Nemiga, it's a big first week for them. Again, their second team, of course, not an easy opponent at all. Not the best game too from them as well, Danog. We've had a little bit of time to see what they're able to do heading into game 3. You brought up some of the things you'd like to see them change. What about the bans and picks for the first phase? Let's look at that a little bit more. What do we want to see kind of change heading into this third game?
Depends who has first pick and who has second pick. I think if you don't have first pick, you got to get rid of the Doom. They don't, it gets picked. So I think that's always going to be a bit of an issue, but it's an instant response coming through from Nemiga. A big part of their success was the Clinks, right? With Hellscream playing it, and he just made Solo's life an absolute misery. And also, I mean, if you can get farmed enough on this Clinks, you do enough damage to even take out a core in the mid to late stages of the game. It's just the issue of getting to that point. How do I feel about the Undying into this lane? Obviously decent against the Beastmaster, but it's not like you're needing to right-click for absolutely everything. And you've got a decent amount of DAC the other way as well, just through the axes building up, through the Clinks just pinging at you from afar. You almost never need to be standing on top of each other, so I'd say it's pretty rare that you're going to get that double decay value.
Do we feel like some of the value of the Undying is not there anymore, with like pretty much no range carries are picked up besides the DOTA?
SF's picked up, I guess. Like, that's the only other one that I can really think of. Maybe a sniper. We haven't really seen too much of the Drow. I still want to see that shard in a competitive game, dude. The little platform, little cliff, whatever you want to call it.
Is it Glacier? So cool. What do you,
sure, let's go with that.
I didn't even... I do want to check actually what it's called now. So.
Actually, no, pop quiz. What do you... No, we both don't know what it is. So, it is Glacier. Very nicely done.
Wow. Look at me. I know my spells.
Потрібна моя допомога.
We both know that's not true.
And
your hero comes out, and 4 months later, you're like, what is this hero?
Come on, dude. Quiz me on anything. What do you want? What do you want? I'll name
what's Skywrath shard called?
Oh, it's a really weird one.
It is. That's why I got it off the top of my head.
10 seconds remaining.
It's 4 words, and 2 of them are of the...
5 seconds remaining.
Alright, no, this is the worst one.
You're not getting it.
No,
anyway, we'll talk about the draft. Keep thinking. Keep thinking. I don't need an instant answer, but if I see your hand on the mouse at all, I'm going to revoke your chances. Alright. It is a good ban, though, of course, against the Undying, just because... Actually... Huh. We see the teams that pick the Undying get rid of the Skywrath mage just because you're able to turn around a lot of the damage. I see your hands on the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, okay.
Because you've obviously... it's great to be able to face up against the Undying because you're able to stay at range the whole time, right? You've got better movement speed, you've got attack range, you've also got the ability to buy just something as simple as a magic stick and then
10
spam out your
seconds
spells
remaining.
and really make Undying's life difficult. But Nemiga have gone and banned it themselves, I guess,
seconds
just
remaining.
feeling like they were subject to a lot of threat coming through from Antares, but
Yeah.
I guess they were never really going to pick it, considering they've already got the clinks for themselves. But I don't know. I feel like you got to leave that as an option for you.
I think that's the big one where it's just take Antares out of his comfort. I mean, he played 13 games of Sky at the major and he was 8-5. And he didn't have many other heroes. It's like Sky, Techie's Bounty, and then Rubik, and then 2 other heroes only has 1 game. So like he's really
Gotta
got
say,
heroes.
There's no techies or there's no Tinker or Bounty Hunter ban just yet. So
The bounty, no bounty ban's very interesting because I thought they would have first phased it.
maybe just waiting to
Dire
see what's
team
the
back.
through, you know? Well, there's the bounty ban. Do you think it's going to be a full-on Antares focus? Like, are they going to get rid of the techies next? I feel like it's certainly an option. The stun just keeps people inside of the tombstone range for a little bit longer, allows you to catch up with a flesh golem, get that single right-click off. Means
10
the Doom, of
seconds
course, is going to
remaining.
be able to catch up as well, just with that Scorched Earth. Feels pretty solid to me.
5 seconds.
Yeah, it seems like it
remaining.
covers a decent amount of the Undying weaknesses, right? So seems like-
High damage, team fight's good, can farm relatively well. It feels like a good techies game so far. We can't call it great just yet, just because we don't know what mid is available for him to be able to play with.
So I think more than likely, though, speaking about Nemiga supports, we're going to be looking probably for So Bad's hero to be picked up at the 15th. You mentioned that you felt like the lanes were a really big issue in the second game. I mean, we just saw Pandas pretty much off the back of the lanes, they won the game. So are we just hoping for like a strong position 5 to help in the
Radiant
lane?
team ban.
Wouldn't hate an inch, you know, like it feels pretty solid to me. These 3 are just Doom protecting bans right now that Pandas are putting through just to stop him from running at you and to stop him from getting crushed in the laning stage. But an Ench to me, it puts a lot more tower pressure on when combined together with a Beastmaster.
10 seconds
It
remaining.
also just makes Doom's life a little bit more challenging in the laning stage.
5 seconds.
That-
remaining.
I could see them get away with a Disruptor as well. You know, if Doom runs at you, you just glimpse him back.
Radiant
Lay down a
team
kinetic
pick.
field earlier on, and he's not actually able to deal as much of to be as much of a threat to your position 1. It depends what you want to
Dire team
prioritize,
pick.
right? Do you want team fight and a way to not lose the lane, or are you trying to win the lane? And it seems like Nemiga just want to go for something that worked well for them in their game number 1 in the Vengeful Spirit. So really think that they might even just go down the Terrorblade route again.
seconds
They might
remaining.
also consider going for
Dire
a Shadow
team
Fiend,
pick.
for example. Never mind, they're not going to go
Radiant
for it.
team pick.
They actually banned it themselves.
Points away.
Okay.
What do you do against this, though? You can't pudge this, can you?
I don't think you can. Just because then you're
10
like you have a
seconds
Venge
remaining.
Beast and a Clink that's probably going to go Solar Crest. You need a right clicker.
5 seconds
You
remaining.
need someone who's going to be.
But who, though? Like, who is going to dominate the lane that's got decent chase potential and is able to deal, like, AoE damage that's going to deal with a Naga Siren? Because there's things that respond to each individual thing, like a Lifestealer would crush the lane, and you can go, like, a Maelstrom, I guess, to make it okay against the Naga Siren, but Naga's eventually just going to absolutely storm over you.
Can we see Malrin potentially consider a quap?
They could Ember as well. Ember
Dire
decent against the
team back.
Pangolier. Maelstrom is decent against the Naga if you get a bunch of illusions. Okay, it's going to require a lot of early rotations, and I mean,
Yeah.
this is the game to be able to pick up the Drums of Slump for sure against the Naga Siren. It makes a lot more sense as well to
10
be going into the
seconds
Vanguard
remaining.
this time around, because Naga, even just through the illusions, is going to look to put a lot of pressure in
5
onto
seconds remaining.
onto Vazir on his Beastmaster. So I think they're really just going to look to provide him as much space as he could possibly want to be able to give himself a bit of an easier time here.
I don't know how different this matchup is with the 7.3 patch, but I know back at TI, Primal and Pango was kind of one of the heroes you would like picking into Primal, just because you've got some ways to mitigate some of his effectiveness and his burst potential and to get some distance away. So again, I don't know if it's too different. I can't imagine it is, but regardless, I think Kiyotaka's gonna have a pretty decent time into the Primal Beast. So I guess that's one thing.
Are they just getting rid of Maelstrom buyers with the Juggernaut? I guess it's a little bit of kill threat for the lane.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm just having a look at some of the other heroes that that Violent likes to play. Like, a lot of them are gone, to be honest. It's not a good PL game. Monkey King's gone. Ursa is in the pool, which wouldn't be horrible, but I mean, it's not horrible for the lane. It's pretty horrible for the Naga.
Yeah,
Radiant team ban.
They're in a really awkward position where you have to get heroes that play well with the Beast and Venge, but then you also need a hero that addresses the Naga and doesn't care about getting doomed. So I think they've kind of been outdrafted here. I don't think there's a 24th pick that really fixes the issues that we are currently seeing.
Dire team pick.
Sniperino. You're gonna get run at, but
yeah,
you've got Avenge to save you. And you've got Raw to stop the Pango. And you can build Maelstrom. I think it's Sniper.
10 seconds
Can you
remaining.
You double
5
range
seconds remaining.
Venge Sniper into potential Doom Unknown?
I think you can. Slows and stuns and stuff
Radiant
to
team
buff up
pick.
your magic damage. I think with Take Aim now as well, they gave it a bit of a buff, right? Like, just popping it instantly gives you 200 attack range, which is pretty nice.
Let's see.
Coddle of the Light, huh?
It's got to be mentioned. This Clinks is no potential for it to be
10
Flexure.
seconds remaining.
I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't want to say there's no potential, but I've
5
only really seen it
seconds
have
remaining.
success as a support. I mean, what do we... But then you get the ranged issue that we were talking about before, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like you have Burning Barrage anymore, so buying like a Maelstrom isn't going to rip through Naga Illusions.
I'm trying to just think of one melee hero that comes to mind. I don't know.
I mean,
man.
against the Coddle, you don't really want it either now. Against the Doom, you would have loved it, but against the Coddle, not so much.
Phantom
You may now select
Okay.
your heroes.
If it gets late game, you can do a lot of work, but again, this Pango is just going to build a Maelstrom. Doom is going to have AoE damage from Scorched Earth. You're going to have Naga, Riptides going off here, there, and everywhere, and Antares as well, just blinding and illuminating a lot of these team fights. So I'm not sure if this was the pick. I still think a lot of this is on Vajra. I think if he can get some good roars onto Kiyotaka to allow them to... They don't even have a ranged hero, right? To be able to hit the Pango, even if you roar him in the middle of a fight and he doesn't have the shield crash on. You know, what do you actually do against it then?
I don't see
10
what Nemiga
seconds
going to be able to
remaining.
do if Melrine has a bad game.
5
We saw what
seconds
happened
remaining.
last game for Vajra. He doesn't leave the lane like it doesn't matter about who's playing it. It's just the Beast Monster hero. You're not leaving your lane. You're not rotating. This hero stands where he is and doesn't do a whole lot after that. And your PL is not going to be able to get active. Your Venge is... There's a big reason why we don't say Venge a whole lot. You can't really be the playmaker.
They won when
so
they picked it.
They did win. But come on, like this is so much pressure. I feel like on Melrine to be able to come out on top, and as the game goes on, there's going to be some nice ways to address him. Like this Naga can really be a big issue with that root, and eventually it's going to be able to pierce BKB. So I kind of liked when Nemiga were going though. Like it was this. You had the Venge to be able to address the Doom. Whenever you use the ultimate, you just swap and reposition. That's a Doom pretty much wasted for a Venge swap who's got a very low cooldown. You were going to be able to buff up and have this hyper carry that could just go toe-to-toe with Ramses. But again, this Naga pick just threw them in a whirlwind, and they could not address it as soon as it was picked up.
The second phase bans were really good from Nine Pandas, I think. Like, it addressed the Doom in lane, and it addressed some of the big Maelstrom builders that would have been able to deal with the Naga Siren as well.
So, let's see what they can do on the boys on Nemiga, because it seems like we are both very much in the Nine Pandas fan. But before we get underway, of course, let's hear it from EGB.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600. Cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
There was, big reason. Melreen, he said, good luck, have fun with the bracket at the end of that, and then he did triple
the
bracket.
European smile.
Yes. So it wasn't even, he triple bracketed after with a separate message. We don't see that too often. Maybe it's just like, the one message of something instead of the good luck, but
it means that he's being very serious with his good luck,
Yes, definitely. He's really hoping that they, that in particular, Kiyotaka is
30
in
seconds.
the best mood.
luck, and his hand doesn't cramp, and all that good stuff doesn't happen to him.
So we painted a pretty grim picture for Nemiga. But now this is, you have the floor to paint the absolute
Michelangelo
best scenario.
painting floors and ceilings and all that sort of stuff. All right, best scenario. Like you said, I think Melreen has to have an amazing lane. I think if the Beastmaster is able to get into this Drums of Slop, it could put him in a fairly decent spot. Kiyotaka is going to have a lot of damage reduction, 40% by using that shield crash in the lane. I wonder if this leaves him a little vulnerable just for the early stages in the mid lane, right? Knowing that he's got the shield crash as opposed to the swashbuckle, maybe you go for like level 1 trample and look to like try and take away a lot of his HP. We'll see.
Alright, keep it in that picture for me. So not much more? Oh, no.
There's not much more. I mean, I honestly think
no.
they're in a position to maybe lose all 3 lanes, if I'm being totally honest about it, right? Because you've got a Coddle that's going to be able to do a lot of harassment in this bottom side of the map. It also means that you're going to have Scorched Earth much more frequently if you're choosing to put it in onto them. They're nearly copping double Illuminates as well already in the lane. And in terms of heroes that are able to push the lane out and allow the Doom to go for those super deep dives, Coddle's one of the best, right? Like, most of the time you're like, Coddle, stop stealing my farm, but who cares when you've got a Doom and it's just going to enable you to continuously run in.
I guess the one nice thing for bottom is the fact that Antares did miss the unblock on the hard camp, the great position with the sentry from Sobat, top left corner, so that's the big thing. Shove the lane out, go for the pull, reset positioning, rinse, repeat. So they at least won't have this for Nine Pandas to work with. Meanwhile, top lane Solo and Vajra falling very, very low between the two, but it looks like Hellscream. Solo's got some stick charges to work with. Still another round of the axes. Now Ramses actually looking to try and push back Vajra, but Ramses won't be able to continue the chase.
A little surprised, to be honest. I mean, Nagasaren's got a good 30 movement speed, 25 actually, on the Beastmaster, but didn't see if that last right click was going to be a high roll. So really burning a lot of his regen already in that lane. Even getting the range creep denied in front of him. Let's drop the tombstone here, but it's going to be enough to be able to take them out before the tombstone dies. Hellscream getting some valuable gold.
Jeez, what?
Yeah.
What was that right click? Oh my god.
I mean, he's already lost 8 strength, so he's got 400 max HP.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Vajra's like, yeah, I've had enough. This is one thing I have not seen a lot. What,
It's so much harder to do. That's why. Part of it is the small camp being that much closer to the lane that, you know, most of the time when people did that first pull, they like delayed it a little bit so that it would block up the camp at the same time. It's really hard to do it. Like, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position for so much longer. Will they get a half pull? Yes, they will. Nicely done by Vajra on the top. And it is a little easier to do if you're Radiant, just because you don't have this gigantic ward spot that's going to scout out any sort of movements towards that area. So I think that's one area where Dire previously had the swung back to Radiant, and I think it's part of the reason behind the win rate skewing a bit more towards Radiant in recent times as well.
Overall, though, does look like the lanes are... I mean, top's still a little bit iffy for the Beastmaster, but importantly he's getting his levels, and that Ring of Health with one might be enough sustain just to be able to offset the Undying kind of nuke and issues that we see with him up against Strength Heroes and Female bottom. Barnes getting all the farm he would ever hope for with the Phantom Lancer as well.
Yeah, Miro, obviously, it's a lot of it is off the back of them being able to block up those camps and keep them blocked for a good period of time. Miro, he just had to take whatever creep he could, which is the Ice Armor. Honestly, not the worst against a Vengeful Spirit lane. Just with Doom not even needing to buy anything like a Ring of Protection or anything like that. This is the thing, Antares, he's going to really look to scale up in levels off the back of a lot of these stacks that he might try and build. I almost have to wonder, like, when Melrin is very deep, by the way. He's behind the tier 1 mid tower. Maybe looking to try and take some creep camps as well at the exact same time. Like you mentioned during the draft, it is one of the... Pango was one of those heroes that people liked to pick. Can you get a career snipe? Got him. Like to pick it against the Primal Beast just because you've got movement spells to be able to get away, but you would have to say that you don't farm anywhere near the same speed as what a Primal does.
No, definitely not. At least in the early game is really the big thing, and then you can maybe get an item advantage and then scale and then snowball that, I should say. So yeah, like you said, prior to Diffusal. So we'll see. Kiyotaka, regardless, though, is you know, what, 5 2/3 once he hits 6. I mean, even from Melrin as well, where we're going to see both of these heroes look to get very, very active.
He's going to get 6 off of this kill. I'm not sure if it's going to be this last creep. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. They still do have a bounty rune for him to be able to pick up, and he's got a roaming observer ward essentially following him in that melee creep. It does give him a 6. So is anyone going to be able to make a move to be able to secure him a kill? I mean, that first blood would be huge if they went for it. Ooh, speaking of first bloods, Miro potentially considering one down towards the bottom side, but we're seeing a lot of little pokes and pods that haven't eventuated.
This time the poke should work out in Nine Pandas' favor. As Vaja, wait, you just gotta commit now. Ramses will do just that, and he should be able to TP out as well. Meanwhile, Hellscream should be able to get the return onto Solo.
He just wants to die out of XP range. He's completely out of resources. Oh, does he see the courier? Oh, kill the couriers first! Oh, Solo.
Regardless, though, Nine Pandas able to pick up first blood. Might even look to TP mid, but Kiyotaka's got a full bottle and full resources, so he's even going to look to try and connect as well. Nice scan, though, regardless. They are well aware.
Oh. 15 HP he's able to survive on.
Nicely done as well.
Kiyotaka making the movement up towards the top side, dodging out a lot of that with the Arcane Rune being popped. Vaja able to take away that Lotus right in front of him. They know the pathway. It's such a narrow one for them to go down. Oh, what are the bouncers going to be like? For this Pango nearly clips himself.
No way, he jumped over a Kiyotaka. He'll get the kill as a result, but Melrin's real angry and he wants some revenge. And he should be able to find it. No crazy shenanigans going on with the neutral creeps to be able to find that deny, and unfortunately wasn't a perfect timing as well. They're even going to give the rune over to Melrin, so he's able to get a full refill in the bottle. Meanwhile, I believe Intara is able to get the other one as well down bottom.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh yeah, I'm just blind. Don't worry about me. He's going into the Pavis.
Pavis, yeah. Okay. That's what I said.
But,
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
True. I told you I have Italian heritage, alright? Don't you start.
Alright. They're pretty aggressive, and this time it's going to be able to pay off deep inside the tower. Wait, Ramses? Alright, has he got enough? Yeah, it's a 380 movement speed, but the phase boots activated. They're going to be back up shortly as well. Oh, he's zooming. How is Ramsey still alive? Where's the boys?
Naga's also pretty speedy.
He's got the abilities up pretty shortly at least. He's just got to try and predict where he is. Gets a glimpse of him and...
Oh, Ramses!
Oh, what a player. Axes as well. Doesn't need to. He's got to live.
Oh,
Radiant's
tip him.
What?
His team have to tip him after that, man.
Radiant's
So what
bottom tower
what
is
happened? It
under
looks like
attack.
Solo went down and so bad also died across the map.
cares?
No, I'm just just
Radiant's middle
gotta
tower
recap.
is under
That's the
attack.
sort of play that you got to focus on. And again, this is one of the plus sides. Naga Siren, low HP. You're playing on the dire side. He's got the Mighty Minds buff. So 4 HP per second that he's getting. Just gets it passively. Of course, not wanting to put too many of his creeps there. He doesn't want to get the Hellbear Smasher to smash him.
Indeed, no smashing, please, sir. Meanwhile,
Radiant's
Antara is able to
bottom
get that
tower
finishing
has
blow into the
fallen.
bottom tower. So, I mean, that's pretty
Radiant's
much
courier has been
Pavi's
killed.
completed here for the Coddle. And meanwhile, they're gearing up for a dive as well as Vazia is going to need some boys. Alright, going to look to TP, but the Polarize still up at the ready. The Rolling Thunder for Kiyotaka to work with as well, so he doesn't have the full arsenal of spells. Miro doing here.
See that
What's
tombstone.
going on?
As soon as you see that tombstone, you got to get out. You know, like the Primal Beast really wanted to try and lay down
Radiant's top tower
the
is
pulverize,
under
but not into all of that.
Radiant
Not with the heavy
structures are
rotations that they've been
fortified.
able to make through. I mean, it works, right? If they feel like Antares is just able to read this one out, build up a lot of the stacks, keep that bottom lane shoved in, it's a lot of space for Naga to potentially move down to as well. Just looking to correct this mid lane
Radiant's
first, and
top tower is under
really
attack.
sets them up to be able to scale into that later stage.
I was just going to ask who you feel like they'd give these stacks to, but alright. Ramses
Dire's
is
courier has been killed.
mine, all for me.
I still wish we could see the choices that they get with the
Yeah,
tier
same.
ones. That's a pretty great one for the Naga to get. Not a ton of magic damage that you're
top
having to
lane.
deal with early on.
It's positioning, so bad's gonna get knocked down to the low ground. Looks like still be able to get the kill nonetheless. Kiyotaka does take a lot of damage for it. Melrain once again just a little bit too late to get the kill onto the Pango, but it looks like nonetheless he'll get a freebie onto Solo. Might be forced to use the Pulverize, and will do so at the last second.
Yeah, it's a lot of cooldown, it's fine. And Ramses, they won't know, but he doesn't have a TP available, so they might be able to put some pressure up onto this top tower with the fact that you've got the shield rune, Pulverize just 10 seconds away. You know that there was a TP used defensively as well to be able to get on out of there. Just push in. I mean, once again, it's going to be 9 Pandas, slightly favored, of course, this game, much more
Dire's
even
top tower
than
is
game
under
number 2,
attack.
but third place in a major speaks for itself.
Does indeed. Don't need too big of a net worth lead for 9 Pandas. But the odds over in their
Radiant's
favor.
middle
I
tower
think this
is
is a
under attack.
Midas that's getting delivered from Miro. And you're getting a free tier 1 tower as well. As soon as they see a Melran look to try and TP in with the shield rune, he's just probably going to be enough of a deterrent.
So one of my win conditions for Nemiga was that Vazia had a pretty decent game. He is not having a decent game right now. He's only just hit up onto level 6. He's basically leveled with his links in terms of net worth. Part of that is Hellscream's gotten a little greedier, but I think it's so important for him to be able to get into this Vanguard and the Aghanim Scepter, for him to be able to give them some sort of a response to this Naga Siren, because outside of him, I'm really not seeing it, right? You've only got one use of the trample, and then what do you have to be able to deal with Naga illusions?
Oh, jeez, a lot of damage on a Solo. It's a commitment just for the Undying, though, and Solo, he's okay. Pavi's activated, and they're going to be able to turn it back around into Melrain. They'll even snipe the DD in his own face, and a high five as well. Kiyotaka, beautifully done, and Solo will live to tell the tale.
Yeah. Power of the Pavis. Hover over it, it's got an insane cast range for a supporting item. Just to be able to get it from complete safety. You almost never want to be in on the front lines as well as a support, so really feels like it fits in really well.
Just back to your Beastmaster thing as well. The fact that
Radiant's middle
we see
tower is
Vazia
under attack.
farming down bottom instead of they're gonna make.
Kill him?
Looks like they're gonna
okay.
violent coming through the portal.
Yeah.
Radiant's top tower
Very
is
nice.
You've got full map vision and I didn't even know that was coming. That's the power of these twin gates.
Outnumber them all.
So this is a big thing with Violent playing towards a triangle, getting both the ancients to farm. Yes, it's buffing up his net worth, his diffuser blade, and one component of the Manta, but it means that the scepter is going to be much slower for Vazia.
Yeah. he needs those stacks to be able to start to scale. And I mean, it's even just good for Venge to be able to kind of keep up with things, right? They go for a smoke, and they actually get a kill onto Solo, not the highest value, but this is the power of the Clinks, even with that support role. They might be able to get a quick kill as well onto Antares. Didn't use the Pulverize early enough, so he's able to get the Pubis off.
It's pretty speedy though. It's like, even with the Rolling Thunder expended, they've got the snare back up from Ramses. It's close to the T2 tower, but a Doom's going to be committed as well for Mira to help secure the kill, and now they'll turn over to the right and see a freebie in so bad. So 9 Pandas. This net worth lead is starting to balloon out of control. It's up to 5,000 now at 14 minutes.
They just got way too greedy with that one. It seemed like a really easy Pulverize onto a Keeper of the Light that almost certainly would have been going down, and off the back of this Hellscream, at least you'll be able to snipe out that Wisdom Rune in Kiyotaka's face. I believe the... No, okay, so it went over to so bad. I was about to say, I nearly thought Baja was the second lowest on the team. Experience, rather, but still went over to so bad.
Hellscream's... This boy's putting in some work though. We'll see what this hero is really...
Straight nullifier.
Radiant's top
I don't know
tower
what value we get out of this. The Parvies.
That's about it for now.
Yeah, double shield crash as well, I suppose.
They've got double Pubis, so...
It's just so much damage as well with this hero, so we'll see. Support's going to be probably food for him. That's really his name of the game. Probably hoping to get rid of the Coddle.
I mean, it really does feel like it's probably for the Pango, right? Like, if you
Speaking of Pango, top lane. The boys are coming. Melrine's got to get out pretty fast, but the Diffuser Blade from Kiyotaka will make sure that attempt will be cut short. And all of a sudden, there's 2 other supports to look to move on over. And it's not going to matter with the Rolling Thunder off the mark for a little bit. Kiyotaka's able to blow him up, so... There's that. Oh, they're even going to look to smoke instantly. Okay.
Was I seeing things, or was Pango getting stunned while in the Rolling Thunder by the Pulverized when he stunned?
Yeah, I thought I saw that as well. I'm
gonna need to test that after this one.
It might just show the stun bar and not stun him still. I don't know.
It seemed like he kind of stuttered in place, you know?
It kind of did. We might get another mechanic like that later on.
Tumbler's toy? Oh, no.
Dude, that's a...
You broke my foot velvet.
Level 10 on the Coddle as well, so... Chakra maxed out. It's got the Illuminate maxed as well, so they definitely continue to be in fighting shape. They're going to haste red as well for Kiyotaka. Why not?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I wonder if that's going to work the same way. You know, we like to reference it a lot, but the old Snapfire Aghanim shard with the stun bar. I wonder if that's going to work the same with the Basher for Pango, right? You just swashbuckle through all the PL illusions, and the one that has the stun bar is the real one.
Speaking of the Pango, Melrine again. It's just Kiyotaka's able to lock onto his member. Will not matter where Melrine goes. There's always a Pango to prove to be an issue. They're still trying to hit back Hellscream. Hang on, brother. Brother, this is not an attempt that's going to go your way. Kiyotaka is a man on a mission to try and take this series, and with the progression they're on currently, it's seeming like they're going to be able to do so with quite the ease.
So part of it is, of course, wanting to pick up farm in the most efficient way possible, which is lane creeps. But I think a big part of it as well is just...
Violent so bad? What's going on here? 2 people just popping out of the portal. Now Violent, he doesn't want to be here anymore. He's stuck. Can he cut through? I don't know if he can leave. He's got to try and juke with the illusions. I'll get a glimpse of him now. Violent, no,
what?
Just too late.
He's doomed. He's doomed in base.
What?
Oh, I've seen that happen a couple of times where it just goes off after the fact, but all right. Clever play to be able to TP out. Even more clever by Antares to go up onto the high ground just in case he was there. It'll still result in 9 Pandas taking Roshan, though.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh man. And meanwhile, wait, what the? Oh, it's a Radiance Naga.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm getting PTSD right now. Old school Naga days, where they just build it, make illusions, and just run them down the lane, and this is when lanes would like aggro from the very start to the very end.
Dyer's bottom
You
tower
just
is
keep
under
pulling them
attack.
back, and there's no way for you to get out of your base. It's just full on illusion builds.
The Kiyotaka? Alright, it's gonna be there. The chain control, is it actually even gonna be enough to have to roar on the first life? He's not even gonna die! Are you serious? Kiyotaka turns for the Rolling Thunder, but they are in shambles. Hellscream won't be able to TP up, but the Rolling Thunder stops it short. Meanwhile, Solo chases down the secondary support as well, and they didn't even freaking go through the first life. Kiyotaka still has the Aegis.
Double harvest, man, I'm telling you, just from super long range. Even if your core is out of position, kind of like what Kiyotaka was there, he's feeling a little bit more confident because he's got the Aegis of the Immortal for sure. But that, plus the extra 10% magic resist for the Occult Bracelet that he's still holding on to at 19 minutes, all these little things do add up. He's going into a Satanic next man as well, just to be that little bit more survivable.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
There's some weird stuff going down bottom. They're trying to set up on Miro, who also was then trying to set up on the PL. And now they've got the numbers advantage. There is the Watcher, though, that might scout out some of the positioning. We'll see what angle they want to take for Nemiga. Miro's pretty beefy as well. He's going to turn with the Doom, not looking to mess around, but Jesus, all right. Well, that was a surprising amount of damage from Nemiga.
They got Solar Crest and the Wave Wolf. They're not maxed out, but close enough.
And Ramses, nice man to dodge.
I mean, he's out of mana.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble as well, but Solo's potentially nearby to help out. Ramses, though, still will go down nonetheless. Melryan's still going to take his spill. Now, Violent's the one that's in trouble. They still had some of the Naga illusions with the Radiance burn, so that was enough to help secure the kill. And that was a fight that goes their way even without Kiyotaka there as well.
No, Kiyotaka was busy solo killing Beastmaster up top. I was like, where was Beastmaster? That was the only thing that could have dealt with the illusions there, that Aghanim Scepter. At least he's finished it up, but solo killed really isn't the way to go here. Once again, Kiyotaka showing up in force.
Radiant structures are
Build
fortified.
quickly onto him here. Doesn't seem like it.
He's going Satanic on
Radiant's middle
Kiyotaka.
tower
Yeah, I
has
said
fallen.
that before.
Oh, you did? Wait, what? Huh?
I did. I mean, they're basically just making a competition of be as unkillable as possible, right? Like, Solo has shown that he's been incredibly hard to kill. He's obviously got the Flesh Golem, you've got a Naga Siren, you've got a Pangolier. They're going to steal away the Wisdom Rune, never mind. Steals away without allowing Kiyotaka to bottle it. It is what it is.
I mean, Solo's been a Chad this game. It's like, and he sees, you know, my Pango's about to have a Satanic.
Radiant's top
Maybe I
tower
can
is under attack.
get some stuff going for me.
Yep.
Nemiga, though, wanted to hit back potentially. First real big fight from them, a 5-on-5. They're going to run straight to Solo. It's been a big issue for them to be able to deal
That's a
with.
good one.
They should be able to secure the kill. Now turn to Kiyotaka as well, but the Raw's going to hold the Pango down for the moment. Violent. And we've got to keep tabs on where the PL's going. Straight towards the backline. Looking to try and dress and Tyrese. Should be able to do so with ease. Now wants to TP out. And he'll cancel
the
himself.
bash.
Violent, not going to matter. He goes down in a Hellscream. He's going to be chased down. Solo runs straight into him. A 2-for-2 in the end with a buyback out of the Undying, but 9 Pandas. They get the big kill onto Violence Phantom Lancer.
They just went on the same page there. I mean, they ended up being able to clear out the Aegis, considering Pango didn't have the Rolling Thunder. They used the Raw they had maxed out. Slom drums going, all 20 charges there, but and they just went in different directions. And again, if you want to deal with this Naga Siren, you've got to make sure that you've got the Beastmaster there dealing a lot of that AoE magic damage. Going even further in their favor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. With how it was positioned before, I see from EGB, it's not looking too much better, as well as Ryan's also in a lot of trouble.
I wonder if they're trying to kite it out for another 10 seconds so that you've got this Roar available on Vaja.
Kiting's going to be pretty on point if that's going to work out, because they're bringing every single member bottom. It's Vaja, he'll get the Roar, but it's just minimal damage on the Kiyotaka. He's able to stand strong. Satanic's even activated as well. And now off to the left side, look at Ramses. Song on to 2, so they caught out Melrine on the escape, so Kiyotaka... Wait, oh, they didn't know he's there? Alright.
But he used the... They cancelled the TP with it. They know he has to be around. I'm glad they're in good spirits with the laugh chat wheel for the team.
As soon as he runs out, he's going to run under a ward as well. So he's probably stuck here for the whole time of his cooldown on the TP.
I mean, he can run to the right, I guess. That's where they've got the sentry coverage, so it's where he'll feel safest, and he'll just go up top. Yep, there we go.
Okay, never mind.
So, he's about to reach a decent timing here on the Primal Beast, right? You could quickly shove in this lane if you want, but he's about to have BKB, and also level 15, which... Level 15, pretty great against the Blinding Light, pretty great against the Root from the Naga Siren as well. Even just the Diffusal Blade debuff is going to be nice to be able to clear off the back of that level 15 talent on the Primal Beast. So, things could take a turn for the better. It's really going to be important as well for them to be able to pick up the full Crimson Guard for Vazia. He's just about the recipe away, so 1,000 gold, but, I mean, all the lanes are pushed in. It hasn't used any lanes of Rax yet. Maybe just off the back of Nine Pandas wanting to wait for that next Aegis, but I think we're just waiting for someone to make a mistake. They've got some really deep wards up right now, courtesy of Antares, just to be able to scout out someone that might be without a TP, for example.
How fun this would be to play into a Naga when you've got 2 supports that do absolutely nothing to illusions. It's just such a miserable game. To have a Radiance Naga just running you down, and then you've got other Panda members that are able to get you as well.
Oh no, Hellscream. Okay, he's able to get away. They see where the Naga is, so maybe they're just feeling like, okay, well if we make a TP back to base right now, we can absolutely get an outnumber happening. Looks like that might be the case. They've made a bit of a go onto solo. They forced out the Flesh Golem, and they're going to be able to get rid of it. They still see him as well underneath this Hawk. Would you even call that a Hawk? It's like a freaking dinosaur to me. Next to the Watcher.
Like a pseudo pterodactyl. Oh, nice jump. Kiyotaka. He's going to be able to set up for Mira, who was instantly there to follow up in pursuit as well. What are you going to worry about, man?
Shielded Pango.
He's untouchable.
The rare albino.
Maybe they can knock him inside the base. They'll be able to deal with the shield room swap inside. Oh,
that's
baby. That's how you do it. Very nicely done. Swap back inside. They need more out of it, though. Double buyback from Nemiga. Hellscream's hunting. You've got the Onslaught ready to go to close the distance, but Antares is there. And now the turnaround as well. Ramsey's going to show up out of nowhere with a song. So hold Hellscream down in a place. They'll be able to at least secure the kill onto the Clinks, but can they turn it back around though on Nemiga? Where's Violent? Where's the PL? I mean, he's off to the left side, but he can't even do anything. There's nothing that the PL is able to...
He's back though.
Ramses? Coming out to the right. Is he in trouble? Heart Radiance? Man, seems untouchable.
I mean, I was worried that you had Vazia. Careful. Trying to chase him down. They wait.
I don't know.
His micro and his, like, not actually moving. Panicking a little bit here. He was just busy defending in the mid lane while all of that fight was going on, so you didn't actually feel the impact of him. Part of it is you just don't want to lose a tier 3 tower off the back of Naga illusions, let alone heroes, but part of it is as well is he needs that Crimson Guard. He really wants to have that to be able to influence these next fights, but where can you get the farm, and what are you going to lose in the meantime? It's a pretty quick Roach respawn as well, so if they wanted to get that one on Nine Pandas, they absolutely could.
It's only been pipe, alright.
I mean, I don't hate that either, to be honest. You've gone up against a Diffusal, Coddle, Riptide is magic damage as well. Scorched Earth.
Radiance.
Block a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if it's that 1% what they need. What is the probability, actually? It's 12%? No way. That's...
Never underestimate the power of Slum.
Power Slum, I think this is just some PTSD of what PL is able to do in some games, but I don't know about this one.
See them go into the Roche pit, but it really doesn't feel like Nemiga are in any sort of position to contest this. It's just about getting as much farm as quickly as possible. Charger, pick up the Wisdom Rune at least, so more speed going over to him and Benj. They're holding onto a gem right now, so at least they're looking to maybe clear out a bit of safe space for them to be able to farm with. It's really quick movement down towards the bottom side though, so you have to wonder if Sobad's time is best being spent, you know, just taking a Watcher, for example, when he could be clearing out this high ground ward. It's a place ward down first. He might even get caught out here.
They've got a deep lane ward anyway. Oh, they're going to catch up to Violent. Nice jukes for the PL. It's going to be Solo that's on top of him for the moment. Swap to reposition. Violent's going to be out to the left. Oh, Miro, he's still hunting though. Wants to try and close the distance. Aurora's just going to help the retreat, so Vajra won't have this now for the high ground defenses. There's going to be nothing that'll stop Pandas from running up.
Still the dieback as well on the bench, so
Hero
dive.
gets it too, but it's onto the Beastmaster, who's not really going to provide a whole lot of value inside the team fight. Ramsey still will chase him down. Now they'll turn to Violent next as well. Just so much AoE damage that Violent is slowly losing his health to.
It's not like he can even join in from afar, right? They took away the Aghanim Shard, being able to throw in the Spirit Lances from afar and have them bounce around. It's on the Ags now, but he's a mile away from being able to pick that one up. Dieback on, well, the target prioritization is on point from 9 Pandas. Focus down both heroes that had no capability of buying back to rejoin the fight, so that you knew you would have an out-and-up, but you've still got the Aegis on your Pangolin as well. Kiyotaka is just continuing to play fearlessly, as he should.
Miro as well is playing just as up in the face. Nothing to worry about from the boys on 9 Pandas, and what a way to be able to kick off their third tour as well. Of course, game one was not the game they were hoping for, but they just needed a warm-up game from them. So, high expectations as well for Pandas heading into this third tour, so I just need one more fight to be able to close it out, and with the lead they have, it's... Oh, Violent?
I'm really expecting them to wait for the Beastmaster to at least be alive, maybe wanting to try and get them to the mid a little bit deeper, but they've almost already lost the fight here.
Nice roar. Very good roar under the tower. We'll see if it's gonna pay off to anything though. Oh, he's got Aegis? Oh. Never mind, Kiyotaka. He's chilling, dude. Oh, Dino's dead. Melorant. No buyback for them to work with. Vaughn is trying to do whatever he can here for the PL, but it's not even going to be enough. Ramses, they want more kills, and they're going to be able to find it. Song to set up for Miro's clap. And down they all go, along with the G's as well. The drop from the boys on Nemiga. So Pandas going to be able to start off their third and final tour with a series victory over Nemiga. Beautifully done.
Very, very nicely done. After a little bit of an initial scare in that game number one. I have to say, though, even though the game, you know, finished a little bit more convincingly than I was probably expecting, I didn't mind the early game from Nemiga. Like, I was worried that they would just get crushed in all three lanes. Didn't really happen. I thought they did a better job. Of course, I think it's a huge mistake when you ever just let Doom through. This hero almost feels like an instant win. A lot of the time. You can be flexible with your builds, you just pick up whatever neutral creep is going to give you the best utility in the lane. You could go for survivability, you can go for initiation, you can go for scaling. It doesn't matter. This hero is just the best hero in Dota by far. I agree with Quinn. Make sure to drop a quick like on that tweet so hopefully it gets a little bit more traction, but Doom is just crazy good right now.
I don't need to say anything else on the Doom hero. Enough has been said about him, but it's good to see not really losing the stride for Pandas, with Solo coming back towards the team as well. I wonder what's going on with Roger, if you had any passing comments after the major to the old man. Of course, some ex-teammates as well, but for 9 Pandas is, again, a nice way to start off. They get a bit more of an easier opponent. I'm trying to see who they're versing next. They got the second team coming out from Division 2 as well, so a bit of an easy start for the boys on Pandas.
You know what? They're number one seed. They get that luxury.
Yes. Yes, they do indeed. Until it's proven otherwise, until someone is able to knock them off that top of the podium. Of course, there are some definitely teams to be able to do that. You take a look at the likes of really BetBoom and Spirit are the ones we're looking at. Who knows what VP are able to do as well. And of course, there's a lot of other very, very scary teams that we've already seen so far as well. But at least for us today and for our second day overall of Division 1 for Eastern Europe, we are going to be done and dusted. We will be back in 2 more days to continue on with the Division 1 action for the summer tour. But until then, enjoy the DPC action going on. We'll see you back in a couple of days for some more DPC for Eastern Europe.
Thanks for watching.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600, cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.